Alrighty. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Alrighty. Oh, I just realized I was listening to myself, so that song had like a weird echoey effect that was not intended. Alright, let's get Chaosbane up and running. So, well, first of all, hello, good evening. Second of all, I'm just gonna warn you guys, this is really fucking hard. I spent like an hour fighting this boss yesterday, and I didn't get... I got to the final phase of the boss fight fairly reliably, but I have not survived, obviously, the final phase. So, that's what our goal is today. Just a reminder, this game is still in beta. This is not a finished product. It still has a month of development time. I am playing as the Wood Elf, Alessa, whose voice acting is definitely not finished. But I am trying to beat the Act 1 boss on very hard. And it is, well, it's very hard. So, we're not going to wait too long, but I am fighting a Greater Demon of Nurgle. It's quite a spectacle, though it is very difficult. So if you're expecting me to blow through this boss, or you generally hate seeing people try again, then, well, this might not be the stream for you, but yeah. Hello from Germany. Well, hello there. You should definitely be asleep. Hippie Hurdler, where's the dwarf? He's in the game. If I beat the Greater Demon of Nurgle tonight, we'll probably start a new campaign with the dwarf, maybe, after I do a little bit of Prague, just to check it out. But yeah, let's go ahead and get rolling. Okay, here we go.
Father Nurgle.
So I'm just going to skip through this dialogue. If you want to watch it, you can check it out on my Twitch channel, which is where I've been playing Chaosbane. But I've been having a ton of fun with this boss fight, and it's pretty amazing. So I figure it's worth showing off on YouTube, especially since I'm doing it live. Oh boy. Alright. Let's get started. So welcome to Chaosbane, where everything's a nightmare. And I'm fighting a really, really fat Greater Demon of Nurgle. Oh, it's 5 a.m. in Germany? Okay, that's not too bad. So this is the Greater Demon of Nurgle. He has multiple phases, and he has a pretty serious health pool. He summons, as you can see, he summons Nurglings during the boss fight, and he's generally a fat asshole for the most part. I am playing a Wood Elf. I can summon Dryads, just to try and run you through what's going on screen. I do have a dodge button that's unique to this character. When I say this character, I mean the Wood Elf, not like this particular character. So we're clearing out all the chaff here while throwing stuff at Big Daddy here. Dodging his sword attacks. And I am trying to hurt him, and it's definitely he definitely does have a lot of health at this difficulty. Call Lewin to take care of it. I don't want to call Lewin to do it. Lewin might die. Lewin doesn't have the best track record at killing greater demons and coming out okay. Like, he's killed a few of them, but he didn't have a very good time against Pugok. Yes, this is generally not an advised way to fight a greater demon one-on-one. That's definitely true. So, most of my damage comes from that boomerang ability you see me throw out. That's where most of my reliable damage is going to come out against him, because I can kind of throw it into him. Whereas I rely on my other abilities to help me deal with the... so that's the boomerang we're talking about. And I'm trying to rely on my other abilities to deal with the chaff. Because you might not notice it, but after he vomits, he summons up a he summons up a barrier that makes him immune to damage. Right there. Which is kind of when you're able to heal, but it's also when ads spawn, so it's kind of a catch-22. And then he lowers it like that with a bunch of poisonous gas. This is like when you get to deal all your damage to him. And I'm just trying to run around and do as much damage as I possibly can. And it's not easy. And that vomit will hurt a fuckload. Gonna go paint a wall. Really? This is on very hard, which is the highest starting difficulty you can do. I've been enjoying it a lot. Obviously, the boss is a little damage spongy, I will agree. But it's not too bad, honestly. Like, we are getting through him. It's just kind of a matter of measuring myself. And I've learned to be careful against this guy just because he can kind of unexpectedly one-shot you if you're not careful. So, I prefer to be careful. Has anyone ever one-shot a Greater Demon? No. Not unless they were also a Greater Demon. There are some Greater Demons that have one-shot other Greater Demons. But no one's ever, like, one-shot one outside of the end times. In the end times, a few of them got one-shot. But outside of the end times, no, not really. What about Croc? Oh, yeah, I guess you could say Croc one-shot a lot of Greater Demons. Yeah, that's fair. Sorry, then yes, I take that back. Croc has actually one-shot a lot of Greater Demons. But Croc is that was also when Croc was alive. Since he died, I don't know if he's fought a Greater Demon since he... I don't think he's fought a Greater Demon since he died. Though I don't think that's due to a lack of power. I think that's more due to another scenario. An Aryan? Yeah, an Aryan one-shot some Greater Demons. Though, well, no, actually, you know what? He one-shot one Greater Demon that he caught off guard. But I wouldn't say an Aryan one-shot Greater Demons very reliably. Whoop, I shouldn't have done that. Shit. An Aryan actually struggled pretty hard against the Greater Demons. How is the game? It's pretty different from Diablo because there's actual mechanics outside of just like spamming abilities. Like you notice that I'm actually using a dodge skill, which Diablo does not have anything like that. I also find the boss fights challenging. Like they're legitimately difficult with really interesting kind of more MMO mechanics, which I consider a plus, not a minus. So it bears a lot of resemblances to Diablo, but I would say it's pretty different feeling. There are a lot of similarities. It's the same style of game, but it's got all sorts of weird differences. Like it is more akin to Diablo 3 than any of the other ones, due to the way that you have like you have a limited number of skill slots, but not as limited as Diablo 2. But you don't have like a true customization screen. You have more like a fair amount of abilities that have different tiers as you level up, and all of the tiers aren't necessarily better than well, they are better, but it's not like a full upgrade. It's more like a stylistic difference. So like this skill I'm using right here, this one where I shoot out a lot of arrows, I can do one version that it makes the arrows have a lot of have like a big slow effect, or I have which is the version I think I have on right now because it does the most damage. But there's another version you can do where it does like a lot of poison damage. But I'll show you most of the stuff around. Yeah, this is during the age of Magnus the Pious, yes. So this is after Magnus defeated Asvarkul. Alright, so that's the first phase. So we are through the boss's first phase, and now we are into the second phase. And as you can see, he has 3 phases. And the third phase is really, really, really hard. But each phase has less health than the one before it. And I shall reiterate, the last phase is very hard. Diablo style is getting kind of old? I guess, but I really only think that's the case if you've probably been playing Diablo. Like, I have not played much Diablo since, it's been a while, actually. But now we're in the second phase, which you can see he rains shit from the ceiling, and it really fucking hurts. And it's very difficult to dodge because you don't get a lot of warning. And the big thing is the big thing for me right now is dodging the vomit. But you also only have one heal ability, and you can't, like, use it constantly. You can only use it once every couple seconds. Or once every, like 30, I think. It's not a lot. So I do have to be really, really careful against this guy to try and manage my healing while also staying out of the way of attacks that hurt. Like, that sword will do a really good amount of damage, but much more scary, it stuns me, which really, really fucking sucks. What is the butterfly? So the butterfly is unique to the Wood Elf, and what it is every character has a couple of different ways they generate, like, energy, which is the equivalent to mana. And for the Wood Elf, you generate it through shooting people with certain tiers of attacks, and you also generate it by getting in contact with the butterfly. The butterfly is a sprite from Ethel Lauren that powers me up when it's glowing and I get close enough to it. So it encourages you to have, like, a really mobile playstyle, and you can build your passives around it too. So, like, I have a passive on right now that makes it whenever I grab the butterfly, I get damage reduction for a limited time. So, like, it'll make me tankier for a bit if I get the butterfly, which is really, it's a nice bonus. But you can get, like, different tiers. So you can build yourself around the butterfly, you can build yourself to completely ignore it, but it allows you to reliably get a large amount of energy very quickly. You just kind of have to keep an eye on it during the battle, which can kind of be a downside, depending on where it is. So it's not, like, always available to you, because it has a cooldown, and you do have to, like, go after it, which can be kind of a bummer. But this boss fight is probably the most fun boss I have fought in any video game. You know, mostly because Total War just doesn't have video games, and Total War is my favorite game. But this guy is super fun, and for a Greater Demon, he's ridiculously well designed. Like, I wasn't even expecting to get to fight Greater Demons in this game. I mean, I guess I was, but the fact you fight one Greater Demon. They're not like a common enemy. They're a boss at the end of each act, and they are literally the exact. They're the new versions of the tabletop models, which are way more gorgeous and interesting, and much more importantly to me, they have all of the really iconic abilities and fighting styles so far that I've seen. Like, you'll notice he doesn't actually get up out of his chair to fight me. Like, he has, like, a fairly laid-back style of fighting, and he summons a lot of nerdlings constantly, like little children. This is pretty accurate to actually how Greater Demons of Nurgle would fight. Like, they're not mobile. They're very, very sluggish, especially compared to other Greater Demons, like Greater Demons of Slanesh or Khorne. So hopefully this is the case with the other Greater Demons. Like, if I fight a Greater Demon of Khorne, he just sits in a chair, I'm gonna be kind of upset. But for a Greater Demon of Nurgle, this is pretty perfect, honestly, because he fights really, really well, and he uses the terrain to his advantage, and yada yada yada. And if that mace attack, if it hits you, it will literally one-shot me. It won't one-shot all the characters, like the dwarf or the human can take it, but I can't, because I'm just an elf. And elves are not very tough. They were not built for up close and personal ass beatings. So what can we expect? Yeah, so I mean, I would love to see a Greater Demon in Total War kind of draw inspiration. Like, I hope they use this version of the model and not the old version, which was fucking hideous. And not in, like, a good nerdly way, but just in a it didn't look inspiring or good way. Ooh, that was almost a bad dodge. And you notice he actually laughs a lot, too. like, it's kind of hard to hear because his voice is so low, but he actually is, like, really jovial. And if you pay, like, I don't pay attention much to it because I'm too busy, like, trying not to get hit and die. But he actually makes a lot of really funny noises when you're fighting him, on top of just being gross. Like, you can hear him, like, slurping and, like, making all these ugly, gross noises when he's moving around. And he's just really fun. And he laughs, too, which I love. Like, when he pukes, you'll hear him slurp when he's wiping his face off. And the best part is, when he barfs, not only does he sometimes spawn nurglings during that, which is where these first few come from, but he also pukes up, like, corpses of people and stuff. It's just very nightmarish and imagery heavy, and I really, really like it so far. This is just, like, easily the best Greater Demon I've seen in a video game. Which, there's been a fair amount of really good Greater Demons. You know, the Dawn of War series had good Greater Demons. In Total War Warhammer, we have the Greater Demon of Tzeentch, who's pretty decent. Warhammer Online Age of Reckoning had Greater Demons, though they're very, very hard to come by, and most of them are kind of jokes. Like, you can fight, like, a Greater Demon Nurgle that's, like, super easy to beat. Which is stupid. Like, if you're gonna do Greater Demons, they should be, like, challenging and scary. And be given proper respect, you know? They shouldn't be like, a common enemy. Alright, we're into the third phase. So he licks his sword, which is gonna make it nice and diseasy. And he enters the final phase, which the thing that makes the final phase so nasty is that he summons Plague Bearers now, as you can see over here. He does his, and now he barfs instantly. So you see the barf comes right down the center of the battlefield instead of off to the side, which is fucking awful, and I hate it. And also he summons guys much more regularly. And he only does one sword hit phase as well, so I can't, like, take advantage of his sword hit attack as much as I was. And so, like, the whole trick here is I not only have to keep dodging, but I have to get behind this pillar when he barfs, and then I have to immediately move away from the pillar while it's raining rocks, because he's going to do the sword attack, and if he hits the sword attack on a pillar, he'll destroy the pillar. That's why I'm, like, dodging around, like, so fucking crazy. Because if he does that while I'm underneath the pillar, it'll actually break it, and then when he vomits, I'll have nowhere to hide, and it'll instantly...
Battery low.
Well, that could be a problem in a little bit, but we'll deal with that when we get to it. So not only do I have to keep dodging this fat son of a bitch, but I have to deal with all these ads that never stop spawning, which I've gotten pretty good at. Though it definitely takes, like, a lot of awareness of the battlefield and practice. And during this portion, I'm having to dodge meteors, and then I have to get behind this thing, so that when he pukes, I don't instantly die. And you see, I just got hit by a rock there, so I took a lot of damage. And then I have to move away from the rocks that I'm hiding behind, so I don't take a shitload of damage. Throw out daggers, which are going to damage the mods. Summon a Dryad, which is going to provide me with some, like, defenses. He's going to go down for another rock hit, so I need to I need to stay aware of my situation. He's going to puke, so I need to move behind the pillar. Hold off the Plague Bearers while I'm waiting for that to pass. Get close to him and away from this thing, more importantly, so I can dodge out of the way. And he can totally one-shot me. His puke will one-shot me, and when he does the mace attack, where he slams his mace into the ground, it starts making it rain. When it starts making it rain, if I get hit by that mace, I will die instantly. And if you die, you have to start the whole fight over, and ooh, God, I took way too long to get out of that. And I took a bunch of free damage because I'm retarded. And if I get hit by the sword in this phase, I'm also very likely to die because of the ads, who will make my life absolutely miserable and punish me. So I'm going to run over here, summon a bunch of daggers, pull back, do this, pew, 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 throw this at him, get a bunch of shots into him, dodge back here, make sure I'm not getting hit by rocks, which are a little hard to see, move ahead, summon some daggers to slow people down, and a Dryad, and my health is really, really low, so I'm going to go ahead and heal. And he's invincible for a bit, so I'm going to kind of pull back, get my energy back up, and I'm going to summon more daggers. So as you can see, it's actually a very stressful fight. Oh no! Okay, so now my health is critical, and I don't have any healing for, like, a bit. So I cannot afford to fuck up right now. I need my butterfly. There we go. Q, 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 Q. Okay, there we go. Got my health back. Summon a Dryad. Stay near the Dryad. Summon, run around. I'm gonna go ahead and stand behind the pillar just to be safe, because I really don't want to get hit. Also, there's a lightning storm outside, so, like, there's a small chance my power will go out. Very unlikely, but it could happen. If it does, nobody freak out. I'll come back as quick as I can. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to show this off on YouTube, just because I know I've been playing this primarily on Twitch, but obviously I don't have much of an audience on Twitch because I don't stream there super often. And most people probably aren't aware of when I'm streaming there. So let's move over here, shoot out a bunch of bullets, run over here, throw shit at Big Daddy over here, summon some daggers, summon some more daggers, summon a Dryad, pew 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 pew, pew 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 pew. More daggers. Ooh, that was okay. That made me clench my butt a little bit. I was a little close to his mace there. But yeah, I will be very very happy to interact with chat. Oh my god. Okay. Woo, woo, woo. The only good thing, the only mercy on this difficulty in this fight is that the plague bears auto die after a certain amount of time. But the only thing I have to know to, like, warn me of phases a lot of the time is, like, listening to sound cues and, like, just barely getting out of the way in time. But we've got him down to the last 50% of this phase, and if I can beat this, oh my god, I will be so happy. So let's summon a Dryad to keep tanking damage for me. I'm gonna shoot some more pews. Let's go ahead and get behind the boulder so I don't get hit by Death Vomit. Throw some shit at him. Throw some daggers down. Summon a new Dryad. Throw up some more daggers. He's in his invincible phase now. So we're gonna throw down some more daggers. And then we're gonna pew pew at him, throw a boomerang. Pew pew him some more. Go ahead and fall back. Pop a heal because my health is a little low. Try to avoid getting hit by anything. Pop back out here. Throw another thing at him. Keep pew pewing. Dodge that. Summon a Dryad. Go over here. He's gonna go invincible. I'm gonna grab my butterfly. Throw a lot of daggers. Throw a buttload of daggers. Infinite daggers. Gonna throw this at him. Pew 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 pew. And then let's go ahead and retreat and try not to get hit by boulders, which are freaking everywhere. Heal up. Dodge that, throw that, do that. Summon Dryad. Summon daggers. I'm gonna pull back a little bit just in case his phase changes. Yeah, because he's gonna do that. Some energy. Pew, 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 pew. And I'm very, very low on health, which is very scary. We're just gonna kind of take it easy, take it easy. That was very fortunate, actually. Throw up daggers. Generate. I can also generate energy with certain attacks, like the attack where you see me just shooting out like endless attacks. That actually generates a bunch of energy, which is why I use it, because that's what it's really good for single target damage and also just doing a lot of damage. The Dryad, throw out daggers, throw out a boomerang, which totally missed because I'm stupid. Throw out more daggers, more daggers, more daggers. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna throw another boomerang at him. Grab a butterfly, dodge back here. Do I love the Azray? Yeah, I love every race in Warhammer. Like, I know that sometimes that may be like hard to tell sometimes because I like to meme a lot about who my favorite race is and all that jazz. But there is no race that I don't have a deep love for, like in their lore and stuff. I know sometimes I get frustrated with fans of particular factions, like vampires, because their fans tend to be a little more obnoxious, because they tend to be fans for rather. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. They tend to be fans for different reasons than I normally like. You know, maybe some people are fans because they're like, oh, I like to feel empowered by something, which I don't really relate to because I'm a white dude. And so, like, characters aren't created to make me feel powerful. That's just kind of like the norm, I guess. I don't know, without getting, like, super into something bizarre. Whoa, okay. But, yeah, like, there's... Of course I love the Azrae. Like, I'm sure there are some people out there that feel like I hate their faction, or like maybe I make fun of elves or something. That's just because they're easy to make fun of, and I think the fans of those factions tend to be rather obnoxious in their like elitism. Like I think dwarf fans can be like that sometimes. I think elf fans can be like that sometimes. I like everybody. Even the pygmies? Even the pygmies. Though I only like them as a story. I don't approve of their tabletop models. Their tabletop models were a bit of a mistake. Which is why you don't see them anymore. I think Games Workshop acknowledges that that was not their brightest hour, so to speak. Whoa, 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 whoa. No, 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 no. Oh, oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh, stay away from me! Stay away from me! Oh my god! Oh my god! If I get hit by one boulder, I am super duper dead. I'm just gonna run over here. No! No! God damn it! The Nurglings got me! Ugh. Sad face. Fucking Nurglings, man. Yep, started again. Oh, that is rough bananas. That is some rough bananas. Ah, the Nurglings got me. They did too much damage, and it just takes too long to heal. I know, he was super fucking low. But you do get it down to a science. Like, I can get through his early phases pretty quick. Well, this first phase is super obnoxious. Like, he just has a ton of health in this phase. But it's easy to do, like, tons of damage to him. I'm actually getting through his health pretty quick. Yeah, I can't believe I goofed that up when I was so close to the end. This game is so shite. Alright, you're entitled to your opinion, man, but I think your opinion's full of shit. That's the only thing I think shit in this room. It feels great. I think it looks great. But, you know, you do you, brother. You do you. Whoop. That wasn't a very good dodge, was it? Edgy boy alert. What, is Malekith in the room? Well, the music actually is pretty epic, but I turned it down a little bit at some point, and I don't remember when. And I don't remember why. But the music's actually really, really good. Y'all probably just can't hear it. I might turn it up if I die again. Oh, come on. That's not where I wanted to throw that. Well, and I should note that this demon is this is the final boss of this entire act. So he is damage spongy, but this is it. Like, this is the end of this storyline, or this area. And also, the game is still in beta, and this is the first time they've had this difficulty available. So it could be that one of the devs like kind of overdid how much health this guy's supposed to have to keep it like balanced and interesting. Because I do agree that he's a little damage spongy, but you know, it's okay. Like, when I leave my report for this beta, I'm definitely gonna say like, hey, the Greater Demon of Nurgle could probably use less health. Like, because it's not like he's not difficult. It's just that you can't really afford to make any mistakes when fighting him. What's a character that can do a good health regen build? This character can, actually. I don't have the regen build, but you can make one. If that's what you're into. I think the human soldier can run a good health regen build, and I think the slayer maybe can. Alright, so we're gonna do our best to just kill all Nurglings. Poison damage is annoying. Empire Soldier, yeah, there's an Empire Soldier, a Dwarf Slayer, a High Elf Mage, and this is the Wood Elf Waywatcher. Those are the only characters at release. I imagine there will be DLC characters, because that's kind of like the easiest way to make DLC for this game. Will be to add more characters in like another act. Probably like a Skaven act, or a Beastman act. Well, actually, there's already Beastman in the game, so probably like a Skaven act where you fight a Vermin Lord at the end. I imagine will be the DLC, but because there's no Skaven in the game right now, which lends itself very heavily to there probably being a Skaven narrative in the end. I would think. Hello, Phoenix. Will Total War have this boss? I hope so. I mean, Game 3 should have Demons of Chaos, and hopefully it'll have, like, represented... It should at least have all the Greater Demons, I would think. Because if they leave out a Greater Demon, whoever's Greater Demon they leave out is going to be super butthurt, and it's just going to be bad. That being said, the general choices for most races have been pretty... not lacking, but they tend not to expand the general options too much. Alright, so we'll get him next. So we're gonna get him to phase 2 here in a sec. What about Total War? Do I think we'll get an updated free LC map soon? No, I don't think they're gonna do the free LC maps anymore. I actually talked to somebody at CA about that. I don't think they're going to do the free LC maps anymore, because the problem with the free LC maps is that people take them as, like, promises. So when something changes and, like, they're not able to do that map anymore, or even, like, they're in the midst of figuring something out and they're like, oh, okay, that's not going to work anymore and stuff, people tend to, like, lose their shit when the map doesn't go exactly according to what was, like, already written. So... because I think there's been so much drama about the free LC maps, like, I don't know, there's not really a good Creative Assembly incentive for still doing the free LC maps, if that makes sense. Like, it kind of sucks for, like, those of us who don't freak out, but I understand why they feel that way. But the community, for the most part, has been pretty not great when it comes to the free LC map, so I just don't see that being a supported community feature in the future, because it's just not something that has worked out well for them. Oh, I am doing really, really badly right now. I wish I could pause the video just to see like all the random shitty barfs out. There we go. Much better. So when CA get lazy, they find... Wait, what? So when CA get lazy, they find excuses not to do things. Kyle, I'm sensing a pattern of comment behavior here. You seem to have a very negative perception on many things. It's not really a matter of laziness. Think of it this way: like when you set out to create a free LC map, the thing is that like communities will often take it as like okay, this is the exact order they're going to do things in. But sometimes things change, whether that's because financial reasons, or maybe like they've decided to switch the order of the DLC, or maybe there's like a deal coming out, or something's not working out the way they want it to, so they need to back it up. So like, say they're working on a race pack that's gonna come with like a Dark Elf Legendary Lore DLC, right? And then, or free LC. And then as they're making something, they're like, you know what, this isn't going to work right now. Let's instead push the free LC of the Lizman character up and not do the Dark Elf character right now. We'll get to that later when we revisit this or when it's done, right? But if they do that after they've put out a free LC map, that's going to put them in a position where, because they're not going in the order of the pre-established map that the community has come to like worship, essentially, because that's basically what we would do with the free LC maps. And I'm saying that as somebody who would like literally spend time looking at it, trying to analyze like what everything on the map was. Like, I did that, and I like to think I'm a pretty reasonable-minded person, and there's a lot of members of the community that are like way fucking crazier than me. But it's just a tricky situation. It's kind of a catch-22. So like, it's better for them not to make promises if they like can't know for certain that it's going to work out that way. Which, not saying that the free LC map was a promise, you know, it would always have like a little sentence down at the bottom that would say, this is subject to change, but people are stupid, so they wouldn't pay attention to that part. That being said, they totally might put out another free LC map. I would not be surprised if they did. Because it's literally a catch-22 situation where it's a lose-lose scenario for them. This game looks extremely hard. It's not. I'm just playing it on the hardest difficulty. So it's a personal thing, not a like, it's not like Dark Souls, you know. There's not one difficulty, there are many difficulties. And I'm playing on the hardest one because I enjoy it. I like for my games to have a challenge. I like for my game to make me like think, and if I mess up, I get punished. Like, I get punished hard. I'm okay with that. That's the way I prefer my games. GCM is better than CA at map making. It probably helps to have like a bunch of people, and that's like their only job is making maps. And they also do it, you know, on their free time. They don't have deadlines. They just make them as they can make them. I'm sure if CA had that advantage, they'd probably have just as many maps. Yep. And I apologize if I'm missing your comments. I'm trying to read chat while also keeping up with dodging this son of a bitch. So, if you're, like, trying to make a point and you feel like you're being ignored, I promise it's the Great Unclean One's fault. There's a lot of, let's see. There's a lot of issues I find with the decisions Creative Assembly makes. And, yeah, I mean, I have a lot of problems with the decisions they make a lot of the time, too. Like, CA's not faultless. They've done some really stupid shit. Like, I think Norska was a fucking tragedy. The way that whole situation was handled. It must be really hard to shill for CA. I imagine that if someone was actually having to shill for CA, it'd actually be really easy, because you'd probably be getting paid. That being said, like, I like CA. I think they make stupid decisions sometimes, but overall I like the way they're doing things. If you're taking me for a show of Creative Assembly, then I don't really give a fuck. Like, whatever. It must be so wonderful to live in a bubble where you think anyone who disagrees with you is just a shill for whatever it is you don't agree with. How wonderful your simple little mind must be. Oh, I messed up. Oh, I messed up. Okay, we're in the third phase. For some reason, I thought I was still in the second phase. Okay, well, that's not good. Come here, butterfly. Give me that sweet damage resistance. Is it lore friendly for a wood elf to take on a greater demon? I mean, this feels lore friendly in the sense that I am, like, working my ass off, and if I make a single mistake, I'm gonna die. So, in that sense, yes. In the sense that, like, I would expect it to be, like, a reliable, easy victory? No. But I feel like I'm having to work for it pretty hard, so... I would say that I mean, it's possible for a wood elf to kill a greater demon in a one-on-one. It has happened, but they would probably need to be like me and have, like, Groundhog Day level of chances. Or a number of chances. Is Malekith's invasion of Ulthuan considered part of the Great War against Chaos? It happened at the same time, but it's not... Yes and no. As in, yes, it happened at the exact same time. So, from, like, a global perspective, absolutely. And Malekith timed his invasion to take advantage of the fact that Chaos was really big and popular in the war. Ooh, we got new abilities. But no in the sense that he was not, like, involved or made an official alliance with the creatures of chaos. Whoa! Okay, I fucked up. It's hard to talk and do this at the same time. Let's see. CA is stretched thin because of Three Kingdoms. I'd agree with that. CA does feel very stretched thin because of Three Kingdoms. I think that's a very fair thing to say. That's exactly what a shill would say. I feel like that's an unwinnable argument, but sure. How do I like Prophet Tenepwan, the new DLC? I like him, but I have some problems with his campaign design. I feel like Tenepwan's campaign was overall really good, but the more I've played it, and the more I've played Ikit Claw's campaign, the more I feel like the DLC was like 85% done. I feel like the Lizardman side was kind of underdeveloped, and Tenepwan's campaign suffers for that, in that it's difficult, but it's not rewarding, if that makes sense. Like, if I didn't like Tenepwan as much as I do, I don't think playing Tenepwan's campaign would be intrinsically worthwhile, if that makes sense. So I have some issues with his DLC. I also don't like his visual design as far as how he holds his plaque, and it really bothers me. It feels like whoever was in charge of designing Tenepwan's model didn't think at all. They literally just picked a picture and started making it, and then they just didn't think at all because he holds his plaque like a Neanderthal. It makes absolutely no sense. Any logical thinking human being would have like had him hold it from the side, and instead he holds it from the bottom, and it looks stupid and it feels stupid, and I hate it. Not saying that the artist is bad, I just think they got so... I feel like either Tenenhuan was rushed out the door, or whatever, I don't know. It just feels weird. But outside of that, I do think it's a very good DLC. I think it's definitely worth the money. And I've had a ton of fun with it. And Tenenhuan in multiplayer is awesome. And overall, he's awesome. I don't like the plaque thing, and I think his campaign needs some more spice to it. And yeah, I agree the geomantic web is pretty underwhelming. Like, the geomantic web is very good from a pure numbers perspective, but it doesn't feel good, I guess, if that makes sense. Well, Diego, every character does that. I think with Tenenhuan, it's a little bit more obnoxious because he shouts it, and when he shouts it, the voice actor can't. It feels like the voice actor cannot maintain his like lizard quality voice, which is really good when he's just talking. It feels like he can't maintain it when he's shouting. So Tenenhuan does literally just shout his name like some random person saying it, as opposed to like most characters. Oh, that was definitely glitchy. It just broke that pillar on accident. How would I improve the geomantic web? I have no idea. I'd have to really sit down and think about it. CA could have... I guess Kaio, but I don't know. I don't feel confident commenting on that because, like, I assume there's a lot of people working really, really hard to try and make something really good, but there must be a lot of other factors for which I am not well suited to considering or thinking about, so no comment in regards to that part. That being said, I don't think they're idiots. I think there's a reason behind decisions, even if we don't agree with them. That being said, they have done stupid things, but they're only human. Like, when the Beastman came out and CA was upset that the public was really not thrilled or impressed with the Beastman DLC, like, I forget who it was, but whatever employee made the infamous Charlemagne's comment, like, if that had been my company, I would have fired them on the spot. Because the Charlemagne's comment, that's meme level, like, that was like when Diablo at the Blizzard conference, or the Diablo devs at the Blizzard conference were like, what, do you guys not have phones? Like, to me, that was the same level of arrogance and just thoughtlessness when it came to addressing a community. So let me make it clear, if I haven't made it clear already, let me reaffirm that I am not paid by CA, and I also do not think they are perfect gods who cannot make mistakes. I like them, but, you know, I do my best to hold them accountable, but I also try and treat them realistically, which I feel a lot of people don't. What about giving Lizardman geomancy? I would love that. I don't see it happening, but I would love that. Do you mean like as a lore, or do you mean like as a mechanic? Because I'll tell you what, as a Lizardman fan, when 8th edition Warhammer Fantasy came out, and we got our 8th edition book update, all of the Lizardman players, we were 100% sure that at long last, we were getting our frickin' geomancy lore for the Slann. And then Games Workshop was like, haha, just kidding, and they gave us high magic of all fucking things. And that was like the biggest letdown of the century. Oh, God. Oh yeah, there is a Jabberslife in this game, so... Man, that alone is worth supporting, right? Like, think how many Charlemagnes went into this game that they were able to put a Jabberslife in it. Clearly, that's where all their budget must have gone, was putting the Jabberslife in Chaosbane. Hey, Wicked. thinking about doing a live Q&A live stream. I've thought about it, I guess. I don't know, it never seemed like one of those things that would work really well. But, I mean, if there's a demand for it, I guess we could try it. We're just not sure what, like... I'd have to think about it. Like, trying to figure out how I would make it work from, like, a entertainment perspective. And not just have me, like, sitting there awkwardly, like, trying to answer questions. I feel like I'm not doing as well this run as I did in the last one. Even though I died earlier in the last one. And I just got that second thing blown up. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and let him kill me because I'm not doing very good this run. How many Jabber Slice were put on the A-bomb? Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, sorry, when that center pillar got blown up and I didn't... That's kind of like where I've trained myself to stand behind, so without it being there, I'm gonna... No, there's no way I was gonna beat him. Can someone explain the Charlemagne comment? So, when Creative Assembly released the Beastman DLC, there was an argument among the community because the DLC had a very, very lacking roster. And I don't think anybody nowadays would disagree with that, even Creative Assembly. Like, the roster was kind of a joke. Like, it was just bad. There was one monster, and even though he looked similar to the Gorgon, like, they didn't even do the Gorgon, and then they didn't have the Jabberslice, and it was just a big mess. And so a lot of people were giving CA a ton of shit about the fact that a lot of people were giving a ton of shit to CA that they didn't put the Jabberslice in the game. A lot of people were really upset. And so what happened was CA realized the community was really upset, so they kind of did like a developer update where they kind of like talked about all the decisions going into the Beastmen, and they tried to answer like all of the biggest questions and criticisms. And one of course, the biggest criticisms was, okay, where the hell is my Jabberslice? And one of the devs said something along the lines of, we couldn't put the Jabberslice in the game because we only had so much of a budget to work with on this DLC, and the Jabberslice alone, through his like animations and unique art and stuff, would have cost the same to make as all of Total War, the Charlemagne DLC's artwork. Which is probably true, but that's not really like an acceptable reason to a community, because like how much something costs, it's not a good angle to fight that argument. And so a lot of people kind of just took the meme and ran with it. It was more of an excuse and less of a response, I guess, if that makes sense. And it was definitely not the appropriate response considering the situation. So it kind of became a meme at that point, where like whenever something impressive happens or people are upset, like if people see something really, really cool from Creative Assembly, then they'll be like, oh my god, that must have cost so many Charlemagnes. And if they see something stupid, they'll be like, oh, I guess they couldn't, you know, I guess it would have cost too many Charlemagnes to like make Tenenwan hold his black normally, you know, something like that. Why am I taking so much poison damage? Maybe he does actually have a poisonous cloud around him. Oh, that's not the button I wanted to hit. Banish him back to his father's cauldron. Man, I am trying. I really am. But I am getting okay at talking and doing this at the same time, so hopefully you guys are at least enjoying the conversation. Impromptu Q&A. I have a message on Discord. I'll have to check that after I die again. It might be from Italian Spartacus. Oh, Max. Yeah, the mini campaigns were definitely very short-sighted. I understood what CA thought they were doing with that, and I shit you guys not, I legitimately, oh yeah, that is definitely poisonous miasma. Okay, so I can't go into that. That's good to know. Trying really hard to make sure he doesn't destroy that other pillar. I hope you could just hear the boomerang, like, just flipping around back there. Where is my butterfly? Is it stuck somewhere? Yeah, it is. This happens sometimes. Also, yada yada yada, game is still in beta, yada. Oh, that's not good. I definitely just played myself there. That's okay. Looks like the harder difficulty requires a partner. Well, maybe. The problem with the harder, if you bring a partner in, is that the health and damage of all the critters goes up. So, it's not exactly a easy fix. And plus, you have to remember this Greater Demon, like, whenever he does that attack, you and your partner have to make absolutely sure the line doesn't go over those pillars, because all 3 of the pillars are destructible, right? And if I destroy all the pillars, then when he does this vomit attack, there's nowhere for me to go. And if you destroy all 3 pillars, you can't hide from that attack. You just get hit and die. So that's an instant game over. So playing with multiple people on this is definitely probably helpful, but there's more ads, and you both have to be way better. You both have to be, like, awesome at dodging, so it's kind of a... Alright, Matthew, thanks for coming by, man. I appreciate it. Jerk just keeps barfing his guts up. One thing I'll be really upset about is if we don't get Malice Darkblade. Dude, a lot of people will be upset if we don't get the Malice Darkblade. Probably roughly the same percentage of people who will be upset if we don't get Thankful. A lot of people want the novelization characters at some point. I mean, even Gotrek and Felix would be nice to see at some point, even though I'm not exactly sure how they would be best be implemented, but, you know, a lot of people would really like to see them. But yeah, I would very much expect to see Malice Darkblade as playable. Like, Gotrek and Felix is a little bit more complicated because they're not really, like, characters from the tabletop game. They're more characters from the narrative. You know, but, like, Malice was, like, a full-on just playable character. So, there's not really a good excuse not to put Malice in the game. So, hopefully we'll get him sooner rather than later. Malice Darkblade is a boring edgelord. I feel like you could say that about 99% of the Dark Elf characters. Like, if you think Malice Darkblade is a boring edgelord, then you're probably not a massive Dark Elves fan. Because that's kind of just all of them. They're a very edgy faction, that's how it works. It's basically a hate crime, calling Dark Elves edgy, boring, and edgy. Yeah, if y'all want, if I die again to this guy, which I probably will, but if I die again, I'll go ahead and exit out and actually show y'all some of the game's features for anyone that just hasn't seen it, because a lot of y'all don't know about my Twitch channel or don't want to go to Twitch, so you haven't seen me play this. If you haven't seen me play it, then you probably have no idea what the whole thing is about. I don't like any elves. Well, Skalakin, then your opinion about Malice Darkblade is not very important, is it? Because, like, you know, they're gonna put more Dark Elves in the game. So if you just hate all Dark Elves, then being like, Malice Darkblade is boring and edgy. Clearly, you think all Dark Elves are boring and edgy. So why even bother commenting in regard? That's like walking into a room that's like having a convention about delicious sandwiches and being like, I hate all sandwiches. Like, okay, then why did you come in here? What the fuck, man? Yeah, I've read the Malice Darkblade novels. I don't think I haven't finished the series because I haven't read the End Times novelizations yet. Because they gave him an End Times novel, but it was released kind of late into the End Times. Like, it was released well after he died, if I remember right. So I haven't... Oh, that was... I got really lucky there. So I haven't had a chance to actually check it out yet. Some sandwiches are worse than others. I'm not hating on you, man. Don't worry about that. I just find I just found the comment really funny. So people are only allowed to express positive opinions? No, I think negative comments are totally worthwhile. I just find it funny when someone that, like... There's a difference between not having a positive opinion and just not enjoying anything about whatever it is you're criticizing. Like, if you don't like cars, for instance, like, let's just say you just hate cars, or you're completely apathetic to cars, right? Then your opinion on cars doesn't really matter as much if someone is having a conversation about cars, because you just don't care, or you don't like all cars. So why are you bothering to participate in the conversation when, like, no one's gonna benefit from your opinion, right? Like, I have no problem with someone walking in and being like, man, Malice is just the worst. I hate Malice Darkblade because XYZ. But if they come in and they're like, I hate Malice Darkblade, and then you're like, well, why do you hate Malice? And they're like, well, I hate all elves. Like, what? Like, what am I supposed to gain from that? You're not giving me a lot to work with here. If that makes sense. That being said, everyone's entitled to an opinion. I don't have to respect or give a shit about your opinion, but you're certainly entitled to it. Am I happy that there's finally a Warhammer game that includes all 4 Chaos Gods? Yes. Yes. Big yes. To 0 there. 100% yes. Dude, that's easily the best part of Malice Darkblade. Is his, best thing about Malice Darkblade is his cold one. Hands down. He is like the best cold one ever. And yet, its name is slipping my mind at the moment for some magical reason. I have the artwork in my head, but I can't remember what its name is. Do I think with all the community and all the YouTubers together, we might get a cross DLC Lord Pack? When you say cross DLC, do you mean Game 1 versus Game 2? Or do you mean, like, Beastmen and Wood Elves? Like, crossing multiple DLC pack? Must suck when the best thing about you is your mount. Yeah. I'm not a massive Malice Darkblade fan. I enjoy his books a lot. But he's not my favorite Dark Elf. Because, I don't know. It just isn't. Like, he has a demon inside him, which is kind of nifty. But the thing with him and his demon is that it's a power struggle. It's not like they work very well together. Most of the time. Like, it's mostly the demon, like, trying to fully possess and murder, or get Malice to, like, set him free and all that jazz. And Malice trying to, like, overwhelm him and get him out of his body, or at least banish him. Or get him under control. So, eh. Oh, Game 1 and 2? Yeah, I think that's totally possible. I think a Game 1 versus Game 2 DLC is very, very possible and very, very likely. I would be very surprised if we don't see that. I don't know if that's the next wave of DLCs. I hope it is, because I think that would be like a brilliant decision. But I don't know if I don't know if that's like what's immediately on the horizon, you know? Oop. No, yeah, Malice Darkblade has super important novels. Like, if you want to do, like, you know, if someone like is asking me about lore and they're like, man, I want to know everything about Dark Elves. Where do I start? Well, you just read the Malice Darkblade novels. Like, there's a couple of other books you should probably read to get like ideas on a couple of other little things. But like, Malice Darkblade is 99.999% of the work. Shouldn't have done that. So my butterfly is totally stuck, which is kind of unfortunate. But we will deal. Oh, I'm out of goodies. Man, that is so fucking annoying sometimes. It's sad when he's this big, and yet sometimes I still have difficulty clicking on him. The butterfly is stuck in the same position that caused me to die. I didn't die because of the butterfly. I died because last time I died because I got, or well, not last time, but the time that I got really close to beating him, I died because I dodged in front of like a bunch of nerdlings, and they just happened to all attack me at like the exact same time, and I just took a bunch of damage. And then a rock falling from the sky fucking hit me. Because that's like the easiest way to die in this fight. And by easiest, I mean like the most difficult to avoid. Okay. How many Everchosens have there been? Including Archaon, there's been 13. Okay, so that. A bunch of times, dodge into a rock because I'm bad at this game. Alright, this should get him to phase 3. Yep, alright, we are in phase 3. Alright, he is straight into making himself invulnerable, so let's throw a bunch of daggers down. And I forgot about the fucking vomit again. Also nearly got hit by the stupidest fucking attack in the game. If I had gotten hit by that, I deserve to die, because that's just embarrassing. Man, it is genuinely difficult to remember he's going to do that right when the phases switch. That's not good. Okay, so that thing can handle one more hit, and then I'm SOL. More knives! Infinite knives! So I need to make sure I only go for the butterfly after he does his, like, ground pound attack. Because if I try and do it before he ground pound, or, at any other point, it's more than likely going to get me in trouble. Put down a bunch of those, throw that dude out. Okay, good. For some reason I thought he had already done that, and I was like, oh, he's about to puke, and I'm on the wrong side of the room. Yep. Doing okay. Dodge back over here, throw down some more knives, throw that thing at him, pew pew pew. Dodge over here, throw some more knives, summon the Dryad, run over here, pew 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 pew. Hit the butterfly, get some energy, run back over here, throw down some more knives, and please. Throw a boomerang at the fat bastard, pew 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 pew. Get to safety. Over here, throw some more daggers, throw a Dryad over there, dodge that, pew pew pew, throw a thing at him. Get some more energy, pew 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 pew, do that, pew pew pew, do this. Whoop. Okay, cut that a little close. I always forget about the puke. Okay, what do I think the next DLC pack will be? I'm genuinely hoping it's gonna be like Eltharion the Grim versus Grom the Paunch. That's the only one that like comes to mind as like an instant bestseller of Game 1 versus Game 2. So that's kind of where my mind is right now, as far as that's concerned. If that makes sense. Like, if they're gonna introduce the concept, that feels like the best way to do it. You know?
I'm hurt.
Wow, I don't know what hit me there, but it hurt. Ugh, we are slowly making progress. And I almost got way too close to that. Grab that, summon the Dryad, throw a bunch of daggers down, pull back, pew 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 pew. Do that, do this. You gotta dodge. Shoot the plague bearers. Get back out here. Pew 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 pew. Throw down these. Dodge that. Do that. Get to the butterfly. Get back out here. Summon another Dryad. More daggers. Boomerang. Pew 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 pew. The scary thing about those guys is the plague bearers is they actually do a ton of damage if they manage to get a good hit on you, which is like so scary when you're just dodging around like a madman trying to survive. Infinite daggers! Come on, you fat bastard! Get over here, hop all the way, hop back. Sup the Dryad, get out here. Once again, I apologize if I'm not catching your comment at the moment, this is kind of the last phase of this boss, and I have not beaten him over the course of 2 days. So I'm a little bit tense trying to dodge around and not die, so you'll have to forgive me if it seems like I'm being a little anti-social, but it's not what it is. It's just that this is genuinely pretty difficult. Especially when this asshole keeps, like, vomiting like there's no tomorrow. Give me that butterfly! Go Dryad. Daggers. What the heck? Oh, okay. I had it on cooldown. Whoa, I am not standing in the right place! Okay, that could have been way worse than it ended up being, so that's nice. Kill that. You get out of the way. Get over here. Fire out a bunch of arrows. Get another butterfly. Roll back over here. Summon a Dryad. Summon daggers. Oh no! I stood too close. I stood too close. Yeah, remember what I talked about getting one shot? Alright, so we'll give up and head back to the quest hub so I can answer some questions about this game. Oh, brutal. But, once again, that is this game on the hardest difficulty I have available to me right now. That's not the regular experience. What does the butterfly do? It gives me energy. Okay, that was just him spawning there. So, I was being cocky. Well, yeah, I was trying to do damage when I probably should have been dodging. So, I'll kind of show you guys. We also got some new skills we can check out. So, these are all the skills. Oh, this is actually going to help a bunch. So, let's put on the new spinning blades. So this is the skill tree. As you can see, you unlock different skills as you level, and I have still only put like a small dent. Wow, that's amazing. I generate energy as I move. Let's do that. That is going to help out significantly with my energy problem. So, as you can see, there's a bunch of different skills you have. And as you level up, you unlock them. And the way it works is that every skill costs a certain amount of skill points. So here you'll see this costs skill points 0. This costs skill points 4. This costs skill points 8. I have 48 points available at this point. So I can equip anything I want so long as I don't go over my overall points. So for instance, I have a more powerful Dryad summon available, but this costs 10 points and this one only costs 5. And as you can see, I don't really have enough points to get away with running the superior version. So that's kind of how those work. And the different tiers do different things. So like this spinning blade thing, this is the thing I do most of my damage to the Great Unclean One with. This one just launches a basic projectile and does 3,766 damage normally. This one does 4,142 damage, but on top of that, it slows enemies. And the one I just got does 4,557 damage, but it actually poisons enemies. So I'm going to be able to do a bunch more damage to the Great Unclean One now. And so they have like different effects when you equip a higher level one, and they do slightly more damage to encourage you to do it. But there's a bunch of abilities, like this is the one I run when I'm not fighting the boss, which is that I summon a group of Dryads instead of just, so I can use that on top of my solo summon. So the whole reason I picked a Wood Elf was to play a summoner build. That's the only reason I picked the Wood Elf, to be totally honest with you. And you can even see I have it here, Nature's Herald, which buffs all my summons damage by a lot. But the skill points it costs me to run this ability is very, very high. So it's not super... It costs a quarter of my points, and this is a fucking passive. And passives go up here. So like the passive I just got makes it so that every time I move, my damage is increased by 15%. But also, every time I move at least a meter, I gain 2% energy. And I can just like run really fast. So while I'm running around that boss arena, I'm going to be generating energy and damage buffs. But the real character creation is this, which is called the God Tree. And in the God Trees, you customize your character to be built around whatever mechanic or buffs you want to do. So, like, you'll notice each of these small ticks only gives you, like, a tiny buff. And then these big ticks give you big percentage, or big buffs in exchange for some kind of penalty. So, like, this one will increase my armor piercing by 10%, but reduces my cooldown reduction time. Not in a good way, by the way. While this one increases my critical damage, but lowers my health, so there's that kind of thing. And then there are god abilities, which are very expensive generally, and they have very long cooldowns, but they're very powerful. So the one I have already is this one, which lets me summon dryads, but I got the level 2 version up here. But then I also got that passive, Nature's Herald, by going up this tree. Right now, the ability I'm heading towards is this one, Seeds of Blood, which makes it that every time I kill someone, or I help kill someone, it makes it likely that their corpse will spit out a dryad, which I really, really want. So I'm going to go ahead and put a point here, because I have a favorite point. And you can customize this however you want. You can reset it, and it costs gold, and it also costs gems, which you get from doing various things. And this game is so good, but having a season pass sucks. I mean, in that case, if you're bothered by the season pass, then I would say just don't get it. I mean, we don't know what the DLC for this game is going to look like, so getting the season pass isn't necessarily a great decision from like a pure customer perspective. I got the Magnus edition of the game, but that's because I'm like really sad, and it has physical rewards you get, and I'm like, ooh, physical Warhammer goodies. Like, you could fucking literally come out and be like, hey, we're selling like Warhammer themed pie tins, even though I don't eat pie and I don't bake very often. I would still buy it just because it's Warhammer themed. So you know, take that as you will. But if y'all want, I could show y'all some of the other characters. I haven't played them yet, but if y'all want, oh, and here's the difficulty setting. You see I'm on very hard right now, but it goes all the way down to very easy, and then all the way up to Chaos 5, which I don't think is even unlocked right now. Playing this boss on very hard is probably stupid. I should probably turn it down to hard. But I'm getting really, really, really close. I've gotten so close to killing him, I feel like I'd be cheating myself if I played it on hard. Is there any mention of Tyranids in Warhammer Fantasy? No, because they're not a Warhammer Fantasy race. The universes are not connected. Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40k are not connected at all. They used to be, but they're not anymore. Like, sometimes you'll meet people who are like, they are connected because of this thing, and that's not true. They're not connected anymore. They used to be connected, not anymore. Especially with Age of Sigmar. Age of Sigmar totally shit on the idea that they're connected at all, because Age of Sigmar introduces, which is the continuation of Warhammer Fantasy, in a new setting, but it's the same lore and history and universe. Age of Sigmar, like, totally shits on the idea that they're connected. Because there's stuff going on in Age of Sigmar that could not physically happen in 40k. Like, constellations are like living beings and stuff like that. Each of the base game races start with 2 legendary lords, one a warrior and the other a mage. Sometimes, not always, but generally, yes. So who do I think will be the starting legendary lords of Warhammer 3? That depends on if they're gonna release Chaos as a unified, Demons of Chaos as a unified faction, or as a split, or if they're gonna split them and have like 4 of them. Isn't it one of those things that hasn't been debunked by the new lore, but nobody talks? Okay, so, alright. So, to answer the 40k and fantasy question, so what it used to be was that the universes were connected because that was the original concept, was that 40k and fantasy were in the same universe, and 40k was just 40,000 years in advance. Then it changed to 40k and fantasy were in the same universe, and fantasy was just one of the planets in the 40k universe. Then it changed again to their completely separate entities in 7th or 8th edition. And the big thing about it is that one of the things that really drives in the sword on that is that, for instance, the Chaos Gods in Warhammer 40k and Warhammer Fantasy are totally different. Like, in 40k, the age of the gods, I think it's Khorne is the oldest. It's either Khorne or Nurgle is the oldest, and then Tzeentch, and then Nurgle, I think. So I think it's Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, and Slaanesh is the age of the gods. And Slaanesh was... we know for a fact when Slaanesh was born. Which is, you know, the whole thing with the Eldar. Warhammer Fantasy, it's totally different. A, the gods are very different themselves, and B, their like whole birth order is different. The oldest god is Khorne, followed by Nurgle, followed by Tzeentch, followed by Slaanesh. And they were all born at roughly similar times, but they were born from different concepts. And as the old ones created civilization and built it up, and there were more and more people, the gods came into existence in a certain order by the emotions they represented, which Khorne was anger, the primary emotion that brings them. Khorne was anger / wrath, Nurgle is despair, Tzeentch is hope, and Slaanesh is pleasure / pain / Slaanesh is more accurately represented as excess is probably the best way to describe Slaanesh. But Slaanesh is more like civilization. Have they re-released any of the Bretonnian books? I think so. I'd have to check. If they haven't, they will soon. Because they've been re-releasing all of the Warhammer Fantasy books. And like cleaning them up and making them into much bigger videos. Or books that are awesome and have like short stories and stuff included. What is the closest faction to the Tyranids in Warhammer Fantasy? As far as like how they were designed and how they function as like a society, probably the closest is the Lizardmen, because the Tyranids were originally conceptualized as the Lizardmen, and the Tyranids were originally the 40k equivalent to the Lizardmen when they were like created, but they evolved into something totally different as Games Workshop continued to play with the idea. But like gameplay wise, like if you're playing on tabletop, the Tyranids are really, really similar to the Lizardmen. When it comes to like concept as they ended up, then I would say they're probably closest to the Skaven as far as like being a endless horde of hungry insanity that's just going to devour and ruin everything in existence. Are there any genuine threats that the Chaos Gods worry about? In Warhammer Fantasy, yes. They worry about... the Chaos Gods are threatened by other pantheons. Well, not all of them, but they're threatened by the human pantheon, and they're threatened by Nagash. They're also vaguely threatened by the Slann, but they don't consider them a real threat anymore because they broke their power pretty heavily. And the Gods of Chaos don't think the Slann can recover from it, and they were right. But the only things that the Dark Gods are genuinely afraid of is probably Nagash and Sigmar. Would probably be like the true things that they worry about. Though usually they're too stupid to deal with stuff. Did Sotek kill the Great Unclaimed One? No, I'm taking a quick break to answer questions. To give chat a breather before I jump back in. No, we've fought him 4 times so far, and I've gotten him down to the last phase and almost dead twice. I got him down to like the last 10% on the first try. But he's not dead yet. But we did just level up, so I got a new ability that's going to help a lot, actually. I got 2 new abilities that are going to help a lot, actually. What were the Tyranids like originally, if you don't mind me asking? Not release-wise, but like their original concept was that they were more of a lizard-like species, because they were literally just the lizardmen in space. And their concept had more to do with having like a really... So think lizardmen in space. You have a bunch of pre-programmed caste species that are born from spawning pools or gestation pools in the case of Tyranids that come out with an exact purpose. They don't have a life cycle. They literally just come out fully formed with a perfect purpose and plan. They communicate primarily through telepathic communication. The only difference is that where the Lizardmen are an order race that have the Slawn as their overseers and like a great plan that they're trying to implement, the Tyranids are instead a single-minded entity race that have a collective consciousness, so there's no true top tier. It just kind of keeps going until you get to like the weird shit where it's just like all of them together, which is the hive mind, and their only purpose is to consume and to like make themselves stronger. So they're kind of like the evil version of the Lizardmen in a lot of ways. But they're purely instinct as opposed to the Lizardmen who are more. They have like a plan beyond that. Didn't I have a Discord message? Yeah, I already read it. It's not important. Who would win versus of the Great Horned Rat versus Papa Nurgle? Nurgle, for sure. The Horned Rat is very devious, and he's very dangerous in a long con, but he's not the strongest. He's not stronger than any of the Dark Gods. The Horned Rat is, in Warhammer Fantasy, he is officially the 5th Chaos God. I don't think 40k has a 5th Chaos God that's like considered like a legitimate threat, and is like a canonical entity. But in Warhammer Fantasy, we do, and that's the Horned Rat. And we even have a 6th Chaos God who's a legitimate threat, and that's Hashit, even though Hashit's more of like a glorified greater demon. But he's still sort of a god. And then we even technically have a 7th if you want to get super technical, and that's Morgr, who's the god of I think he's the god of mutation technically. Or no, it's not mutation. It's a really like abstract concept. I'd have to look up exactly what he is. What would have been the future of Warhammer Fantasy if the end times never happened? I don't know. Oh, like what might have happened? That's purely up to subjective conversation. Could Sotek have threatened the Dark Gods? Yeah, he could have if the Lizardmen would have needed to rally under a single unified purpose, which would have been Sotek, and they would have needed to basically wake up all the Slawn at the same time and go on the offensive. Isn't mutation Tzeentch's thing? Yes, but all of the Dark Gods technically have overlaps. If you get too meta about it, every Dark God has significant overlap. But there is more overlap between like Tzeentch and Morgr than there is most. But like the Great Horned Rat and Nurgle have overlap, even though when you dig into the nitty gritty of it, there are differences between the two. Like Nurgle is the god of decay, but the Great Horned Rat is the god of ruin, and they are technically different concepts. It's the same thing with Morgr. Like Tzeentch is technically the god of mutation, 100%, because he's the god of change. Morgr is I don't remember exactly what he's the god of, but he's a god of like a really particular, like a very specific word / concept. Could a vampire turn a relic priest into a zombie? No. A necromancer / vampire could reanimate a relic priest's corpse, yes, but it wouldn't be a zombie. It would be a skeleton. You can't make a zombie unless it's recently dead or has flesh. Has to have flesh. But they could make one into a skeleton as long as the Slawn spirit was not still there. A true relic priest like Lord Croak, no, it would not go well for them because his spirit still has dominance over his physical form. Didn't Khorne and Slaanesh smash? Only in battle. They fucking hate each other. Slaanesh and Khorne are opposites. Just like Nurgle and Tzeentch are. They absolutely despise each other. Is Morgr a chaos god? Sort of. He's more like a minor deity. Isn't he just some souped up beastman? No, he's way more than that. Morgr is a like massive entity in the realm of chaos that squeezes a piece of his essence into the form of a beastman, which we know is Morgr. But that's why he's impossible to kill, at least in a conventional sense, because every time you kill him, his essence just repossesses another body. Now that Total War Warhammer has 10 info on what character do I want to see the most, from my Lizardman fanboyism, I want to see Nakai the Wanderer. From my like wanting to see the game really well balanced and have all the characters, and from like my lore master seat, I think the character that I'd be the most interested in seeing would be probably Grom the Paunch. Is the Green Knight also a minor god? No, the Green Knight's more like a greater demon of the lady. He's more like a demon, spiritual creature. He's a being of pure magic. Are there any encounters between the Dark Elves and the Empire? Yes, but not in like big battlefield. Well, okay, so if you were present for a debate I had a little while ago, there was a incident where somebody got banned because they wouldn't drop the conversation, where I was talking about how the Dark Elf 8th edition book is really bad and it like shits on the lore constantly, and this is actually like a really good example of that. According to the canonical lore of Warhammer Fantasy, no, the Dark Elves have never launched like a full-scale invasion of the old world, and so they've never really met the Empire on like a full-on battle. But in the Dark Elf book, there is a time where they killed a High Elf army and then used magic to impersonate a High Elf army and went to the Empire and somehow knew where they were supposed to go anyway. And so, pretending to be High Elves, they went with the Empire and fought a Beastman army with them. But before the Beastmen made it to the Empire and Dark Elf United line, they like turned and attacked the Empire army and beat them up. And then the Empire like got smashed, even though Karl Franz was leading the army. And Karl Franz could have like effortlessly murdered the shit out of most of them because he had Gall Maraz and Deathclaw with him. And then, but instead of doing anything about it, Karl Franz gets like dragged away by, I think, like Kurt Helborg and Ludwig Schwarzhelm, which is even more stupid because that means they were there and they could have easily turned the tide. Because I think it was Lokir Felhart or somebody leading it. If that, I don't think it was even a special character. It was some random dude. But anyway, so like the Dark Elves trick the Empire and stab them in the back and fuck them up. And then they turned to the Beastman army that was literally so powerful that the Empire had begged for the High Elves to come help because it was so huge and so scary. So the Dark Elves then turned and killed the Beastmen effortlessly. So this Dark Elf army literally killed a super High Elf army, tricked and killed a super Empire army, and then they killed like one of the largest Beastman herds that's appeared in a really long time. All because of fucking whoever wrote the book jacking off about how cool and edgy Dark Elves are. That's why I hate that book, and I don't consider it canon. Because it literally just poops on the rest of the lore, and it's really bad. The Great White Lizard versus the Brass Bull. I already answered that on a Who Would Win. Go watch it. That was Who Would Win number 4? Number 3? Alright, I'm gonna get back to fighting this fat fucker. Actually, while he's talking, I just realized I never tweeted.
Long have I worshipped you. Great are the deeds I have done in your name. I have performed your darkest rites. I have sacrificed the flesh of innocence.
So I like this voice actor for this part.
Waste your lost
Hate her voice actor. I really hope that's placeholder.
There's nowhere left to run.
But I really like the placeholder of this chaos guy because, he literally sounds like exactly. He sounds exactly like a chaos character from Mark of Chaos. Sounds like the advisor you get when you're playing as chaos, which I find really funny. Is Age of Sigmar lore confusing sometimes? Oh, that looks really cool looking. Yeah, I would say that's a fair judgment of AOS lore. It can be confusing sometimes, yes. Yeah, barf your heart out, bro. I feel like the cooldown on that's actually a lot lower, which is good. I like lower cooldowns. Alright, so that's that out of the way. Alright. Oh wow, dude, look how fast my energy rises when I'm running. Look at that. That is crazy amounts of energy. Okay, so I'm not gonna need my butterfly at all. This is gonna be easy. Energy-wise, anyway. All I gotta do is just like run around and I'm like, oh, full energy. I will say I'm already looking forward to like the inevitable Skaven DLC for this game. Because you know there's gonna be a Skaven DLC. Like, you just know. Energy. Yeah, if y'all have questions, I'll try and answer them between dodging like puke and stuff, but Skaven are your favorite bad guys? Skaven do make good bad guys. It is known, as they say in that one show. Die. I really appreciate it. Good boy. Yeah, I know, this is going to be easy. Famous last words, yeah. Yeah, it does kind of feel like famous last words, doesn't it? Sturdy Dryad. Well, I mean, she dies a fair bit, but yeah, she's not too light. Unfortunately, she doesn't do quite as much damage as I would hope, but, you know, can't be perfect, unfortunately. Do I think we'll get 4 God-specific Chaos factions in Warhammer 3? Yes. And I hope I'm correct on that. Well, not correct as in like a prediction, but I hope my hope is correct. Could have worded that better, but you know what I mean. What's my favorite Warhammer video game? Total War Warhammer, followed by Vermintide, followed by... I'm not counting this one because it's not out yet, and I also haven't played through the full experience, so I don't know what the late game is like. So I'm not counting Chaosbane, even though I have very good suspicion it's going to be very, very high up in my list. But I do think that it's probably Total War Warhammer, followed by Vermintide 2, followed by like Mark of Chaos. I don't know what else would be at that beyond that point. Like, I mean, we are definitely in a golden age for Warhammer Fantasy because it's finally getting the run of reserves. We're actually getting like a decent amount of Warhammer titles, but yeah. Circles because I can regenerate more energy. It also makes my damage higher, which I like. I feel like we got through that first phase way faster. Would y'all agree with that, chat? Is my butterfly seriously stuck under his gut? Oh, there it goes. Say that is unfortunate. Miss me. All right, so he's in his next phase. I'm gonna summon the Dryad. One of my favorite 40k games, my favorite Warhammer 40k game is Dawn of War 1, because I just like that style of game. I'm really sad they don't make those anymore. Like the strategy games where you would like build a base and you had like a ton of unit variety, and like it was all about like objective control and like resource management and all that stuff. Like they don't make those anymore, which is a really fucking big shame because I really like those. That's why I'm really looking forward to the Warcraft 3 remaster. Not because I'm like a massive diehard Warcraft fan, even though I do like it, but like I just really like that style of game, and it makes me really sad it's not really supported anymore by like anybody. I'd really like to see that style come back. I was always really upset we didn't get a Warhammer fantasy game in that genre. Like, they did make Mark of Chaos, and it kind of had a multiplayer where you could do that, but it wasn't very good. But anyway, so Dawn of War 1 is probably my favorite, followed by Dawn of War 2. I don't really know if I played any after that. At least none are coming to mind. I'm trying to think what other... Dawn of War 2 had a lot of really good stuff in it. I like the style of Dawn of War 1 better, but I did like the boss, the arena mode in Dawn of War 2, and I also... Oh, I just realized that goes through him. Huh. I really thought it, like, stayed... Oh, no, wait, no, it is still doing... Oh, no, that's because it's poison. That's right. I need to angle that better, because I bet I can get it to bounce around inside of his little throne if I do a good job. He says as he throws it the exact same way he's been throwing it. Eat damage! Whoop. Yep. Don't stand in the vomit. I said don't stand in the vomit. To which I say they were very well designed, but goddamn, they are annoying. little bit. Get my energy back up. Fucking love that boomerang. That boomerang is doing some serious work. Yeah, I don't think I played any other 40k games beside that when I like really sit down and think about it. Poison wears off. Heal. I do wish running around increased my health regen as well. That would be nice. Okay, I need to make sure I don't just stand still when I get to safety. That's a bad habit I have.
I'm hurt.
Ow. Oh, I really need to play the Deathwing games. Like, I know there was one that was like Gene Stealers versus, whatever you call them, Terminators. Are they Terminators? I think they're Terminators, and I still haven't played it yet. Which is dumb, because I think I would really, really like it. Because it has like a full playable Gene Stealer campaign. I just haven't gotten around to it, or like, I don't even remember what came out. I think it was like when I was, I don't know, how long ago was that? Generate that energy. Dryad keeps dying to like stupid shit or something. I'm not sure what's killing off my Dryad so quick. Whoop. Alright, come on, let's get to the next phase. Alright, we are to the next phase. Thank the Lord. And my butterfly is stuck again, I just realized. Oh shit! Oof. Run, 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 run. Get the butterfly. Boop. Throw shit at him. Summon Dryad. Throwing knives. Oh, we got full energy. Oh, I feel special. Alright, we're in the last phase. Again, for like the 80th time. Doing my best to dodge all this fat jackass's attacks. Do my best to heal. Do I like Game of Thrones? Probably. I haven't watched it, if that's what you're asking. I assume I would like it, but like I don't know. I don't have HBO. At least I don't think I do. And so, yeah, I don't. I had to think about it for a second. It's like, I do not have the channel it's shown on. That is the primary reason I have not watched it. So it's not that I haven't watched it because I'm too good for it or like I don't like it or anything. It's just that it's not something that like all my buds are really into. So, you know, it just wasn't one for me. Just because I didn't want to pay for HBO. That being said, I would like to watch it. It looks very much up my alley. I think some of the plot points might be a little goofy, but it looks fun. God damn, it's like, it was like a really nasty particular little wave of boulders there. Go ahead and heal. King Nurglings are just the worst. Well, one of them dropped an anger orb. I wish they would drop more of those so I could actually, like, get my anger meter. Or it's not anger, I forget what it's called, but whatever that resource is. Whoa, okay. Dodged that a little bit late. Alright, let's get over to this. Get back over here. Over here. Ugh, that was too close. Way too close. Not drop rocks on top of my head, I would be super happy. Lazy Greater Demon. Dude, it's a demon of Nurgle. What do you want from him? They were initiative 1 and movement 4 in tabletop. And for the record, neither of those are good. Those are both slow as fuck. Greater Demons of Nurgle are like the epitome of lazy fat asses in every conceivable way. They are not couch to 5K demons. It was actually one of their big weaknesses in tabletop against like Tomb Kings especially, was that they were so slow that the Tomb Kings could like one-shot them with their well, not one-shot, but if they got like a lucky phase, the Sepulchral Stalkers could actually kill them pretty easily because the Stalkers had that ability where they would run up to you and they would turn you to sand if you didn't look away fast enough, which was represented with an initiative check. And since Greater Demons of Nurgle were Initiative 1, they were, like, hilariously slow at looking away, so they could actually, like, die to Sepulchral Stalkers, which was fucking hilarious. There was nothing better than seeing, like, a fairly low-tier unit just absolutely, like, spank a Greater Demon because he was too fucking lazy and slow to look away in time. Shit cracked me up. There's also, by the way, a good chance my headphones will die during this last phase, just because I realized they've been going for a while now and I got, like, the low battery warning earlier. So if that happens, I apologize in advance. I mean, you guys will still be able to hear stuff, I think. I won't be able to, though. You might not. I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna... Well, no, y'all hear... Well, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. That'll actually be a fun experiment. Well, for me, it'll be fun. For you, it'll be quiet, potentially. And I shot that the wrong way. Hey, I got down my Dryad early for once. It's a fucking miracle. More energy for Sotek. Energy for Sotek. Dryad. Eat damage, you fat bastard. Let's all pretend not... I saw that comment. Die! Nobody likes you, even though you're objectively my favorite Chaos God, and I absolutely adore you, and your design is really good. I've been slaving over this fight for like 2 days worth of decent gaming sessions. Oh, this is it, chat! This is it! Yeah! Woo! Yeah, go for your sword, you fat bastard. This part, for the record, I've seen this animation before. Normally, if you're a melee class, you'd be standing right under where he is when he does that, and it is fucking scary.
I sensed the greater demon force its way into our
Yeah,
world.
thanks for being helpful,
Feared the
dipshit.
worst. You have done well, young prince.
It nearly was, High Lord Master. Blessed Isha. It nearly was.
I hate her voice
Eye of
actress.
Argoth. Where is it?
Over there, atop Kessler's remains. Beware the thing, Witch Hunter. It has a way of sticking its claws into your mind.
Leave it to me. I'll make sure it doesn't tempt anyone else.
What about the sorceress?
She calls herself the Harbinger. According to Kessler, she's tracked down the remnants of Arzavar Kul's army and is searching for a champion to lead it.
Where is she, this harbinger of chaos?
I don't know, High Lord Master. Kessler refused to say.
Prague.
What's that?
My agents in the north tell me that a large part of Kul's army fled the Battle of Kislev and returned to the ruins of Prague. I'd assume they would take ship and return to the Chaos Wastes. But now that I've heard about this Harbinger, I'm not sure. Perhaps we might learn more there.
Perhaps so. It will be dangerous, but at the moment I see no other choice.
But it's impossible. Prague is hundreds of leagues from here. We would never reach it in time.
Not so. There is a waystone near Prague that we can use. I can link to it from the stone here in Nuln and send you through. Meet me at the tower.
I know, Teclis is so
when you are
regal
ready to
sounding in this game.
proceed.
Powering off.
Meantime,
Oh, yep, see,
I will
there it goes.
begin the rituals to open a pathway to Prague.
So just curious. So y'all can hear. Y'all should be able to hear me like fine. Like that's not going to be a problem. My question is, can y'all hear the game? Might as well take off my headphones and let them charge. We'll turn this into a... The Wood Elf sounds like a middle-aged woman doing child speech. That's exactly what it sounds like. It also sounds like she didn't read her lines. Or like she hadn't seen them before doing the reading for this episode. The voice is super weird. Okay, so y'all can hear it. Okay, so it's just me. Only Sotek gets no sound. Oh, I did it! We did it, chat! Dead Greater Demon. The best kind. Expeditions unlocked. Very cool. So now we can do mission expeditions. But there's still no shop left unlocked yet, which really sucks. Alright, let's see what gear we got. So we got the Arguelin Poignard, which is way better than mine. Oh, those boots! Oh, baby! It's a really good necklace. And those pants really suck. Alright, so we will donate our gear to someone who can hopefully wear Wood Elf shit. And we didn't level up, did we? No. Oh, there's my experience. I can't tell if I'm very close or very far from leveling up, because it's kind of like a misty orb. So what we've unlocked what are called expeditions, which are like randomly generated dungeons that let you search for loot and stuff. All right, well, thanks to all of you that stayed up late to join us. This is the first act. Jaffe 100. This is the very first act. This is still heavily in beta. There's a month full of development still to go. But yeah, they're like riffs from Diablo are the expeditions you can run. I'll go ahead and talk to Teclis. So we'll go look at Prague just because I haven't seen it. It actually took me until just now to get through this part.
Of course. The fate of the Empire is at stake. Until the Harbinger is found, I'm not letting you out of my sight.
What have your agents
But
told you
that's pretty much it for today's stream. But I will spend the remainder of the time we're gonna spend the rest of the time we're gonna like chill and talk. We'll just do Q&A. A lot of people like to ask questions. And apparently people want a Q&A stream, so since y'all stuck around, you got to see me beat this guy. Yeah, Champion of Khorne, Uthgrim Red Axe.
Retreated with his war band back to Prague. Their arrival took the
So Uthgrim Red Axe is the, I guess, the act boss of Act 2.
Forest, but with winter coming on, it is unlikely they will survive.
Locating them will be easy enough.
For those of you leaving, have a really good night, guys.
Will they aid us?
The Kislevites are a proud.
Oh my god, we actually go get to meet the Kislevites. Oh man, give me that Russian accent though.
Without expecting something in return.
If that is the case, so be it. Now, gather round. The winds of magic are shifting, and it is time we made our way.
See, the funny part about this is I'm going to have to also listen back to this recording once my headphones charge. And see, here you can see your kind of like every character has this weird altar, which I don't know what these do yet, if they do anything. But this is the Wood Elf one, which is like a badass tree. This is the High Elf one, which is pretty cool looking. And then here is the Empire one, which has like the Hammer of Sigmar and a bunch of other iconography like that. And then the Dwarf one is over here, and it's a shrine to Grimnir. So it looks like it's a shrine to each god that your god paths are based on, but yeah. So let's head over to Prague. Whoa, look at this. God, I kind of wish this would let me like pick wherever I want to go. So here's Prague. Watch, I'm gonna like do this, and it's gonna be like, look at this amazing cutscene and shit, and listen to this cool voice act. Oh, yep, here it comes.
What do you want?
Gorchev.
Peace, friend. Are you the leader of these people?
Who's asking?
I am Alessa, an Azrai of the Athel Loren.
And she says the Athel Loren. It's just Athel Loren.
Is that so? Well, you've come a long way for nothing, elf. Take your wizard and your damn witch hunters and go home. There's nothing for you in Prague. Red Axe and his warband has seen to that.
Red Axe is the reason I'm here. I'm hunting a sorceress who calls herself the Harbinger.
What do you want me to do about it?
I like the bear statue.
You're dying. There's no food, no medicine for the injured.
I know. You and your people have suffered greatly. If you will permit me, I will go into the city and get you the things you need.
It's no use. Red Axe's men search the ruins every day. They get to the supplies long before you.
I would like to see them try. There is not a human born who is swifter at the hunt than the Azrai.
You don't know what you're saying, elf. You haven't seen the monsters that are loose in Prague. If you can bring us food and healing herbs, then we will talk.
Alright, so this is the Kislevite camp. We still have our shrines here. So clearly these do have a function. Because they're still here, even though the Wood Elf one seems like it's not really in a particularly interesting spot this time. There's no like super tree, it's just like aiming at a forest. Oh, and they have like actual Kislevite soldiers. That's nice. There's the dwarf one. Then that leads to Prague. They have impaled bloodletters. That's not how bloodletters work. Whatever. It looks cool, I guess. Twin-tailed comet. Alright, I will park my character right here. And then... Why is the Wood Elf so polite? She's super young. That's the only reason I can think of. Like, I think in the story, she's like maybe a century years old. Like, for an elf, she's like ridiculously young. When they... Yeah, they should. Demons when they die disappear. They don't leave behind corpses. But in this game, the small demons, the small demons leave behind corpses. So like the Nurglings, the Plague Bearers, those, and like the Chaosbane, those all left behind corpses. But like the Beast of Nurgle and the Great Unclean One didn't. Alright, so let's do a Q&A for just a little bit, and then we'll call it a night. I just really wanted to stream killing the Great Unclean One, which I am super fucking glad I did. Like, fuck that thing. I'm super proud of myself for beating it, though. Oh, that was totes worth it. We'll hang out next to the Urson statue. What's the male to female population breakup among dwarves? Ooh, I know this. I think it's 1 girl to every 4 boys. It's either 1 to 4 or 1 to 10, but I'm pretty sure it's 1 to 4. Is it confirmed that all 4 gods are represented in the game? Yes. Bunchlocks. Absolutely, 100% confirmed. Yep. Every act has a every act has a different god. So Act 1 is Nurgle, Act 2 is Khorne here in Prague, and then we don't know which one's Act 3 and which one's Act 4, but every god has their own act. And presumably there's going to be a Skaven DLC, which will be Act 5, which will be a DLC. What times do I usually stream on Twitch? Too cool, I'm going to be putting out a schedule soon. Very soon, because I want to get back to streaming on like a regular schedule so people know when to show up, especially on Twitch, because I think my Twitch audience, if I'm going to have a Twitch audience, they need a reliable schedule to know when to show up if we're going to have any hope of having a presence there. Yes, it's a Diablo 2 act style system, or Diablo 3, or Diablo. Any Diablo. But I'm pretty sure that's a staple of the action RPG genre, is doing it in acts. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have like a good discount code for you guys yet. I'm hoping I'll get one, but I haven't managed to pull that off yet. What's my opinion of this game so far? Really, really good. I think it's easily worth probably... I think... What's the asking price for this game? Hold on. Let's see. Let me go to the store page. No, I think it's 40. Or no, maybe it is 50. Yeah. It's $50 for the base game, then there's a $60 version and a $70 version. I think for the base game for $50, I think it's totally worth it. In some people's opinion, it's not like, I don't think the game's bad looking. I've met people who think the game is not great looking, but I don't know what they're comparing it against at all, to be pretty frank. But like for a hack and slash, I think it's super duper good. It has a really good composer. The lore for the game is decent. It's not like mind-blowing, but it's good so far. Kyle, yeah, they don't. When it comes to like the Russia / Eastern European aspects of Warhammer Fantasy, they keep it pretty straightforward. They don't change it to a lot. Well, Diego, so I don't know how the game's gonna end. Like, I don't know if it's like there's an Act 4 where you fight, you know, Tzeentch, for instance, and you fight the you fight the Lord of Change, which is the Demon of Tzeentch god, and that's the end of the game. That would seem kind of weird. I feel like it's more like you're gonna fight a greater demon of each god, and then at the end of the game, you either have to fight like someone who's trying to become an Everchosen, or some kind of undivided character. Oh, you mean Total War Warhammer. Sorry. If we get mono gods... well, yeah. If they did mono gods for, excuse me, for the Demons of Chaos, that would be a massive, A, that would be huge, and B, like, they would have to be at war with each other, because that would be, like, a massive part of the game. I don't know fucking European geography, Kyle. I'm from America. My country's too fucking big for me to worry about y'all shit. Maybe Bellicor will be the final boss for the undivided section. That's possible, Bunchlocks. I mean, seeing as the whole point of the game is that the Harbinger is trying to get, like, a new Everchosen together, the thing is, to have a new Everchosen, you have to talk to Bellicor, because Bellicor crowns every Everchosen. That's his curse. What do I think the DLCs will be? Motion Asgary? If I'm thinking and hoping it will be Game 1 versus Game 2 DLCs. So I'm hoping like the next DLC is going to be Eltharion the Grim with the High Elves versus Grom the Paunch with the Greenskins. That's my sincere hope. Is it Czech? Is what Czech? Prague? I don't know. Maybe. Do I think after the release of 3K, Creative Assembly will focus on Warhammer content again? Yes. Yes. I think we're going to get 3K release, and then I think we're literally going to have probably 6 months of just pure Warhammer goodness. Like, maybe 2 deals. Like, maybe go back to... I don't think we're ever going to go back to Warhammer 1, where we were getting like a DLC every 2 months, but I think we could go back to a DLC once every 3 months, is my hope. So like half the time we did for this first year of Total War Warhammer 2. Because the current DLC cycle is agony, and I really hope we're not going to keep doing that. But I feel really confident that the reason we were doing that was because they were working on the tentpole release of Three Kingdoms. And I don't think they would ever admit to it because it would just cause like a riot. But I don't think that the Total War Warhammer 2 DLC team was as big, or at least they did not, the size of the team did not scale well to the size of the DLCs. I would like it if Warriors got divided. So for Chaos, what I'm genuinely hoping for Game 3 is that I hope there is a undivided Demons of Chaos faction to go with an undivided Warriors of Chaos faction, and then they have one faction for each god that has a warrior character. Oh, warrior is, instead of having a caster legendary lord and a fighter legendary lord, I hope the mono god factions have a demon legendary lord and a mortal legendary lord. Chaosbane has a season pass, so yes to DLC. Yes. Yeah, there is a I think it's the deluxe edition, comes with the season pass as well as a bunch of other crap. If you get the deluxe, oh no, the season pass is only for the Magnus edition. Oh, never mind. So if you get the deluxe pack, you get pets, emotes apparently, and a gold boost. You also get access 4 days early, so you get to start the game in May, like the last few days of May, and the game comes out in June. And then if you get the Magnus edition, which is the version I got, it's the $70 edition, you get some kind of additional quest, and you also get 3 DLCs. So they've already planned 3 DLCs. I think that's a 3. It's hard to see. It's really, really tiny print. So, yeah, I think they already have 3 DLCs planned, which almost for sure one of them will be Skaven. I don't know what the other 2 will be. Maybe there'll be like an undead one. Who knows? I dislike Chaos Undivided. Well, nobody cares what you care. Nobody cares what you want. But I'm hoping we get... There needs to be at least one Undivided faction, because my thing is that if you're going to have Demons of Chaos in the game, then I need to be able to play Demons of Chaos like you could play them in Warhammer, which was as a combined Demons army. So if they don't give me that, I'm going to fucking... Oh my god, I'm going to lose my shit. But so a lot of people, like, and granted, I only think there needs to be like one legendary lord for the Undivided faction. Like, give Bellicor as the Undivided Demons of Chaos lord, and boom, you're done. And then the rest could be mono god. I really want a Beastman versus Wood Elves DLC. I don't think that's gonna happen, Apollyon. Good. Well, I don't know. The last time CA commented on it, they said they were never going to do DLC for DLC. Because, unfortunately, Warhammer brought in a massive audience from other video games that were not familiar with Total War and were not pure Warhammer fans. It brought in like this really weird base from a bunch of different games, which is good because it's allowed Total War Warhammer to be very successful. But it was also bad, in my opinion, because it introduced a massive community of people who don't understand the idea of, like, introducing a DLC and being like, all right, we're going to charge $10 for this DLC. So we're going to create $10 worth of content, put it in this box, and ship it out, right? A lot of people don't understand that concept, which pisses me off so much. So much. Like, if y'all want to see me get on a rant, let me talk about fucking how people treat DLCs in, like, a Total War franchise. Because when Total War Warhammer came out, there was a lot of fear-mongering that they were going to break up all the factions into a series of DLCs. So there was a huge push from stupid people who, and I'll just call them fucking stupid, little-minded people who are greedy. And they thought to themselves, oh, well, I don't want to pay more than $10 for Beastman, or like $20 for Beastman. They're like, I want to pay $20 one time, and get Beastmen, and that is the end of the conversation. So Creative Assembly came out and they publicly stated no DLC for DLC, which is a shitty business practice when you make good quality DLCs, in my opinion. Like, fuck those people. Fuck them so hard. Because if you are a company and you're like, all right, we've worked our asses off, here's $20 worth of content from what we were able to make, here you go. And I'm like, all right, I purchased that. And I really, really fucking like it. I'm sitting there and I'm like, hey, I want another dose of that, but I want you to continue improving in quality just like you have for all your other DLCs. But I want you to come back to this DLC and release a new pack that expands on what you've already made, but maybe not charge as much. Maybe you give me like $10 and it's it's, you know, or maybe it's a $20 DLC, but it like buffs up a couple different things. And then you give me that. And like, I'll pay for that. But they won't do that because there would be a lot of backlash. Because people are fucking dumb. And because here's the thing. So without me getting on a super big rant, is that they're rightfully, I totally agree 100% that there have been gaming companies, and there are gaming companies like EA Games, who will charge absurd amounts of money for just stupid bullshit that is just awful. Like, they'll take a game and they will finish the game and then break it up really awkwardly so that you have to invest a ton of time to invest in content, or you can pay a lot of money to get access to that content. That's fucking stupid as shit. I totally agree. Totally unacceptable, and they should be shamed and drawn and quartered publicly as a company, not people obviously, but as a company, for such disgusting business practices. And loot boxes are fucking garbage. And any company that supports loot boxes, unless it's like a collectible card game, I think is garbage. And even then, like, collectible card games, like, need to be really fucking careful on how they do that, because the cards don't retain value at the moment you open a pack, unless you can like sell your account, which you usually can't. So like gambling, I find totally unacceptable, which is what that is as far as I'm concerned. And releasing a game and then hiding parts of the content behind DLC is totally unacceptable. So with that established, let me then talk about DLC for DLC. So like Death's Gaze brings up, what do you think about Chaos being DLC in the first game? So here's the thing, and I have literally sat down and had conversations with CA employees about this situation. Like, I've had that privilege, or situation, if you don't want to make it sound too nice. And the literal thing behind that was they designed the game, right? They make Total War Warhammer, and it's done. And then somebody at CA looks at Warriors of Chaos who were not playable. They were not intended to be playable. That wasn't part of the deal. It wasn't part of the situation. That was not part of the $60 content, right? They looked at the Warriors of Chaos and they're like, hey, people are probably going to really want to play as Archaon. So what if we go ahead and release the Warriors of Chaos at launch, and it lets you play as Archaon. We add in like 4 units, and you get Kolek and Sigvald as like the big DLC. And to that I say, fucking stupid idea, whoever's idea that was. But let me tell you why. My problem is not that the Warriors of Chaos were a DLC. My problem is not that you were able to save money on the DLC by pre-ordering Total War Warhammer 1, and it would allow you to get Chaos for cheaper. My problem was that they announced it before the game came out, and the DLC came out at the same time as the base game. Fucking stupid. I 100% believe CA when they look at the Warriors of Chaos and they say, this was not supposed to be in the base game. We just like we set aside some extra money and we threw it together. And I would say, yeah, obviously you threw it together because it fucking sucks. Because the roster is super boring. It doesn't have any cool color-coded units. It's missing most, if not all, of the monsters from its unique roster, except for the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, who was just like they literally made that for Kolek and then changed the way it looked, and boom, Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. So they didn't create a single original monster for the DLC. It didn't have any super interesting new units that were exclusive to the DLC. I think maybe the DLC added like Gorbeast chariots and like Forsaken, if I remember right, and like Marauder Horse Masters or something like that. So it didn't add any units with a lot of panaz. It didn't add any new monsters. It gave you Sigvald and Kolek, but like it was a really bad DLC. It was cheap, and it looked cheap, and it felt cheap, right? So in answer to the Warriors of Chaos, I don't have a single problem that Warriors of Chaos were a DLC, because they weren't intended as the $60 game. When they announced Total War Warhammer, they said, hey, you're going to get 4 factions for your game. And that's exactly what they did, and I was no problem paying $60 for that. Great game. Awesome content. Warriors of Chaos are a bad guy. Whatever, fine. But then they made Warriors of Chaos into a garbage faction. They released it at the same time at the game, which from a PR perspective was just bad. It was just bad. Like, I believed them, but it just didn't look good. It was just really, really stupid. Warriors of Chaos should have come out like a month or 2 or 3 months after the base game did, and it should have been released as a full price race pack with 3 legendary lords, fine, because Archaon was already in the game as an enemy, and yada yada, and actually had like interesting mechanics and like all that stuff. So I don't have a problem with the fact that the Warriors of Chaos were a DLC faction. I think that's the way it should have been, but I think they handled it really, really poorly. Which that totally got me off target, or off point. So my point was that I would have no issue if Creative Assembly came out tomorrow and said, okay guys, here's a $20 DLC that gives you a new legendary lord for the Wood Elves, a new legendary lord for the Beastmen, a new legendary lord for Norskins, and a new legendary lord for Bretonnia is not a good example because they were a free LC, but somebody else. And or maybe just those 3. Maybe just those 3. That's fine. Just those 3. Or hell, Bretonnia, why not? And in addition to that, you also get, each one of them kind of has a new campaign gimmick, and each one of them comes with like 2 to 3 new units, like especially for monsters. So like, if they came out with that, I would be fucking ecstatic. But I genuinely think a lot of people would lose their shit because CA said no DLC for DLC. So the only way, like, the Beastmen are going to get the Gorgon or the Jabberslythe is if, or the Tuskors and the Tuskor Chariot is going to be, or continuing it, Pestigors, Zongors, Korngors, or Slongors is going to be if CA, out of the good of their heart to make the game better and to show off how badass they are, release it as free LC, which seems pretty unlikely. But anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Do I think they're going to leave the DLC races that aren't up to the current standard behind because of the potential backlash then? No, I don't, Bunchlocks. I think they're going to update them in free LCs, and just like we got, like, the Bone Giant is a free LC, I think there's a good chance we'll see, like, the Gorgon as a free LC monster, and maybe we'll see, like, 1 new Legendary Lord for each of them as a free LC, but I don't think we'll see a DLC for any of those factions. So if anyone's expecting, like, a DLC pack to come out with the Doom Bull character, and it gives you the Doom Bull Lord and it comes with the Gorgon and the Jabberslite and yada 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 yada. That's not going to happen because right now I think CA is terrified of how the community would react. Why do we need Tuskgore chariots? Are they not just worst Razorgore chariots? I want them because they're part of the roster and they're like a core part of the Beastmen roster. And I don't think they'd be the exact same thing. If they were a unit of... If instead of a 3 unit of heavy Razorgores, if it was instead 6 units or 6 models of Tuskgores with lighter armor, but they were faster, they had an Ungor Raider on the back who shot arrows with a Gore driver, I think they would actually have a really interesting niche within the Beastmen roster. Well, Bunchlock's me too, but I don't think CA believes that is the problem. And I guarantee you guys, if I went out tomorrow and I made an hour-long video tomorrow, or a 10, 20, 30, whatever, if I made a video tomorrow making a huge fuss about that we want DLC for, or even if, maybe I will do that. That could actually be really interesting. But like, if I asked, if my voice got out to Reddit, as an example, if my voice got out to Reddit that I wanted DLC for DLC, there is a large number of very noisy people who would probably send me fucking death threats. Like, or at least would be fucking furious. Because they just stand on a pedestal where they think every game company is evil. And there are no exceptions. And no matter how good of quality is, nobody should be allowed to have the option to pay for more quality or more content because they like the, you know, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I might do that tomorrow. I'm a little worried about doing that because there will be some serious backlash, but we'll see what happens. A lot of people respect me in the community. Yeah, a lot of people do, but it only takes one asshole to ruin everything for everybody, right? But not that I honestly think I'd give a shit. It's just something I have to think about tonight. What lore do I want most for the Empire that we don't have? For me, it would be Elspeth. Blech. Blech. For the Empire, I want Marcus Wolfhart, the Hunts Marshal. I want Kurt Helborg. I want Marius Leitdorf. I want Ludwig Schwarzhelm as a hero. I want... I think that's a pretty good list. I've always seemed fairly mellow and temperate to me. Well, thanks. I mean, I like to think that I'm mellow and temperate, but I mean, there is no shortage of people out there who probably think that I, like, if you... I'm aware of the fact that if in a vacuum, if someone's like, hey, what do you think about the Lord Master Sotek guy? There's probably people that are like, you know, he fucking is like paid by CA and is like a useless shill, or he sucks their dick, or just wants to... and I like to try and retain some bite. But I also take a lot of pride, I guess, in that I try and always be reasonable and try and see multiple sides of the argument. But I also genuinely believe that people are stupid and people tend to assume the worst in others because that's just the way the world is right now, which is generally a safer way to approach the internet. But yeah, I try and not give in to that. I try and retain a positive outlook in all situations because pessimism is literally toxic poison and it will kill you. And it will ruin your day, and it will ruin everyone else's day, and it impedes progress. I think pessimism is one of the most unhealthy beliefs to have. I'm arrogant, but I'm a nice guy. Well, can't be perfect. Nobody's perfect. You should do a critique of Lesbeth von Draken. Maybe eventually, but I don't really like the idea of making a video just to shit on somebody people like. That's not really something I would want to do. That doesn't jive with the content I like to make. Well, Diego, that's kind of the thing a lot of people debate is like if you were like that's even the big debate between like a Game 1 versus Game 2 DLC. Like if they do a Grom the Paunch versus Eltharion the Grim DLC and you buy it and you don't own Game 1, it's like, so will I be able to play just Grom the Paunch in campaign? Will I be able to play with like the greenskin roster, or can I only play with like, you know, will I get the base greenskin roster, or will I get like an even more edited version of the roster until I own Game 2? You know, stuff like that. That's tricky. I want Amazons with just 2 lords. I would even pay $300 for it. Yakissa, I feel like that's a bit of an outlier opinion. There might be people that agree with you, but I feel like that would probably not go over super well. Kaio, I feel like you'll get your wish on that. I feel pretty good about that one. So I think your odds of dying happy, at least in regards to that, are fairly high. Cathay, dude, Warlord, I want Cathay really bad too. I don't even think I would play Cathay that much because I generally don't play human factions a ton, but I would be super excited to see Cathay. JavaScript. No, thank you. Why is this on here? Make a video about the strengths and weaknesses of storytelling and world building in Warhammer Fantasy. It's funny you mentioned that, Douglas. I've actually been watching a ton of videos about YouTube creators who that's their shtick, is like lecturing about world building and stuff. I don't know if I have all the correct terminology to properly make a video discussing that, but I think I don't know. I might do something like that. That might just end up with me being a person that talks out of their ass, but whatever, it could be fun. Humans led by sentient dragons, though. Well, if the Celestial Dragon Emperor is actually a dragon or not depends on the edition. So like that would be up to Creative Assembly and Games Workshop. Like there is no 100% absolute confirmation that the Dragon Emperor of Cathay is actually a dragon. There are a number of signs that point to him being a dragon, but all the times that we've actually seen him in a story, he's human. And a lot of the stories talk about the fact that he's like a human or a dragon in human form, but that could just be a myth. Like, nobody knows. You know what's too good for CA to pass up, though? Oh yeah, like dude, if the Dragon Emperor was playable and he was a legitimate dragon, I would play the fuck out of that campaign. If Valkia was a legendary lord, do you think she should be with Norska or Warriors Chaos? Khorne. If Valkia was in the game, she would either need to be with the Khorne mono faction or with the Warriors of Chaos. She is not appropriate for a Norskin lord. Norskins. The difference between Warriors of Chaos and Norskins is that Norskins are a more primal and less intense form of chaos. Like they haven't quite crossed the border between completely losing their humanity to chaos. They still kind of like skirt that line so that they maintain their humanity. A dragon in human form, so Aberash. Aberash is not a dragon. He's strong and he's very, very skilled, but he's not a dragon. Aberash fucking struggled when he fought a dragon, which is fair. Like that's how powerful dragons should be and tend to be. Aberash fought a dragon for like a full day plus. I don't remember how long they fought for, and he barely won that fight. Which is good. I mean, that's when dragons are written properly. Dragons are generally very, very fucking hard to kill. There's actually a really good story in the Brunner the Bounty Hunter series about a blood dragon trying to fight a dragon with help, and he gets fucking destroyed. It's so good. It's so good. Because he's trying to be an Aberash 2.0, and he learns that pulling off what Aberash did was kind of fucking hard. he gets curb stomped. It's great. The dragon, like, crushes the lower half of his body, and then when it realizes he's still alive, it just burns him until he's ash. Yeah, the Monkey King would be really cool to see how they would play that out. How do I think they will handle the whole anti-large deal with ogres? So, yeah, Andrew, that's actually kind of what I was thinking. If all of the ogres had anti-infantry, that would actually allow them to counter the anti-large really, really well. Because although, like, all of the spears and halberds would have anti-large, if all of the ogres had anti-infantry in addition to that, the ogres would actually probably be able to make much more efficient use of their, like, mass anti-infantry. Plus, I think for, like, the ogres, if they have a lot of big monsters who have, like, super high armor ratings, having anti-large, like, with spears doesn't mean fucking shit if you're trying to hurt something that has, like, 140 armor. Or 120 armor. Like, if you're up against ridiculous armor, like a Stegodon, spearmen don't do jack. Like, halberds are still pretty good, but not every faction has halberds. Or at least their halberds kind of suck. You know, it's like, some factions do really, really well against, like, super heavy armor monsters. Like, Vampire Coast, you know, has tons of cheap halberds. And they have guns. But I think the Ogre Kingdoms are probably going to rely on having very high speed, very, very high health, and just lots of anti-infantry. Alternatively, I could see the Ogres inventing some kind of ability that allows them to negate charge defense, or allows them to negate anti-infantry. Like, because there are auras in the game now with Albric and Aranessa that give you plus anti-large or plus anti-infantry. I don't see why there could not be a buff or a debuff on, like, the not the Stonehorn, the Thunder Tusk, which is the other ogre monster that has, like, a frost aura. Like, if he had, like, an anti-large aura, like, it reduced the anti-large bonus of units nearby, that could be really fucking cool. Or, like, if ogres, to represent their gut charge, had, like, a special ability where if they get, like, a charge from a certain distance, they ignore charge defense as they just, like, smash through people. Like, that could be fucking wild. But I don't know if that's going to be the case. Warhammer has a version of Wukong? Yeah. Warhammer has a version of, like, most everything. Like, if it's a super famous myth, Warhammer probably has it somewhere. Please, no more vampires. Too cool? I've got bad news for you, man. There's probably going to be more vampires. Keelan, yes, that seems likely. I hope. How do I think CA will implement Nagash and Neferata into the game? Nagash would probably be his own faction. Neferata would probably also be her own faction. Neferata I could see as being like a free LC lord to the vampire counts that just shows up on the game 3 map, but is like, you know, uses just the vampire count roster. Like, I could see Neferata being the opposite of Archon the Black. So where Archon the Black has a Tomb King roster with a sprinkle of vampire counts, I could see Neferata being a vampire count that has a sprinkle of Tomb Kings. And then maybe you get Nagash at some point and he just has, like, all the undead. Because he's fucking Nagash. Though, if they put Nagash in the game, I hope his campaign is, like, hard as balls to make up for his, how powerful he would be. And, like, he would need to be one of those characters that has, like, 4 or 5 legendary items that are all legit quest battles and are, like, difficult to get and require him to, like, go all over the world. Like, they need to really step it up if they do Nagash, just because he's kind of a big deal. Can dwarves and chaos dwarf women become warriors? Yes, though it's rare because they are so rare that it's not good to do that. It has happened. Are there beastmen in the Darklands? Yes. Why did CA pick Albric and not someone more interesting? Probably because there wasn't that much about Albric, so they were able to kind of do what they wanted with him and make him into a unique character with a CA flair. That's probably why. I mean, Albric has a little bit of lore to him. and I know they use this because it's where they've pulled some units from that don't exist outside of it. But in Warhammer Fantasy 2nd Edition RPG, Alberic actually has a fair amount of paragraphs about him. And Alberic is much more of a general than he is a warrior or a, like, anything else. Like, he's much more famous as, like, a political / leadership figure. So he makes a really good foil to Leoncoeur. Because Leoncoeur is more of, like, a ridiculous badass warrior who's also very inspiring, but he's not like super famous for, like, training knights or anything. Which Alberic is. Alberic is very famous for having, like, the smallest knightly court in Bretonnia, but the most elite knightly court. Do I think cheesing ruins the game? Yes. I think if you play Total War Warhammer and you explicitly exploit the game to beat it, then you're defeating the entire point of the game. Like, if you watch me play the AI in Total War Warhammer, I don't try, unless I'm, like, desperate. I'm playing, like, on Legendary, and, like, you know, I can't, like, go back, and I'm already, like, 100 turns in. You know, I don't try and trick the AI into breaking. I just try and beat the AI fairly, because the AI actually makes a very, very good opponent if you don't cheese it. And I also don't just put my army into a command group and right-click on the AI if it looks like it's going to be an interesting battle, because it's not fun to watch and it's not fun to play. So, yes, I've never watched Legend of Total War play a campaign. I don't intend to, because from the way everybody talks about it, it doesn't sound like I would enjoy it very much. Though I am about to steal a series of his, so I might get around to watching one of the things. Because I want to not steal, but I want to do my own take on his, like, getting people to send him campaigns and then he, like, saves them. I want to do that. I think that would be a fun series, but I don't know how he does it, but I want to do it my own way. So, like, don't worry, like, in every episode I would totally give him credit. I'm not going to pull I won't use names, but I'm not going to be like a certain creator who likes to take people's ideas and not give them credit when he steals. He steals it. I won't name names. Yeah, unit caps is a fun restriction system. My thing is I try and build all of my armies, for instance, to fit like a theme. Like, I really like having themed armies. So, like, you're never going to see me take an army of 20 Ancients of the Gods, because it doesn't look right. It bothers me. Are there any good Warhammer books from the perspective of Chaos? Cora Sulan? Yes. If you go to Black Library right now, you can get, which I have been trying to get those guys' attention to do some kind of, like, deal for, like, you know, 5% off on all books or something, fantasy books or whatever. Those guys are a fucking pain in the ass to get a hold of. If anybody is, like, sleeping with or has a relative that works at Black Library, fucking tell them to call me. Anyway, yes, they just released a new omnibus called The Champions of Chaos. It's really, really good. Super good. It has Egrim von Horseman. I think it's Egrim von Horseman, Valkia the Bloody, and... Ooh, who's the other one? Sigvald, and maybe one other one. Didn't I take a bunch of engines in the Everchosen? Yeah, but that was for a free-for-all, and it was also a showcase game. So, free-for-alls, I do stupid shit, because it just makes it's funny. I thought people would enjoy it, that's why I did that. It's not a campaign, though, it's different. I don't think there's a problem with cheesing in single player if you just want to have a good laugh. Yeah, neither do I. I just don't... Like, I don't think there's a problem with it. I just don't think it's enjoyable to watch. But, like, if you're just entertaining yourself or whatever, I don't fucking care. Like, I don't give a shit what anybody does, you know? I'm not sitting here like, oh, you shouldn't cheese your campaign because it's wrong. No, I don't fucking care. Somebody just asked if I like it, and I don't. Do I think Age of Sigmar is redeemable? Yes, I think it's already redeemed itself really, really well, and it's really good. What do I think of the Sigmarines? I fucking hate them. Stormcast Eternals are butts, and they suck, and I hate them. And if they died and stopped selling their models, I would not be upset. But I don't think that's going to happen because they're basically Space Marines, and because they're Space Marines and people buy them for reasons I don't get it. The Stormcast aren't total garbage. I just don't like them. Like they some parts of their stories are really interesting. I just think their models look like trash. Except their mounted ones. The ones where they have mounts, those models are fucking sweet. Not the dudes on top, but like the monsters. Like the Star Drakes, the weird goat dragons, the giant bird monster mounts, and like the little dragons. Fucking cool as shit. Like really, really cool models. If the no DLC for DLC, etc., holds true, and the remaining DLCs are only for content for Game 2, dude, I don't know, Douglas. I don't even want to think about that, quite honestly. Well, your phrasing there's a little contradictory, Douglas, actually. If there's no DLC for DLC, then that would mean, and they're only doing Game 2, then that would mean that there would only be 4 possible DLCs, which would be another one for Lizardmen, Skaven, High Elves, Dark Elves. Because if they did Vampire Coast or Tomb Kings, that would be a DLC for a DLC. So, yeah, that would be pretty awful. I really hope they're not doing that, because then a lot of us would be like, okay, so when's the second wave of DLCs coming for Game 1 to, like, keep things even, you know? Because making sure that all the races are supported is kind of a big deal, I think, for everybody. Even though Norska and Wood Elves are kind of in a shit place right now. And that Norska does not seem like they're going to get more support, even though they have a really good campaign. Like, their campaign is awesome. But they really could use a third character and a little bit more stuff in their roster. But the Wood Elves, like, just don't have a good campaign. The Wood Elf campaign is ass. But their roster is also really good. Like, the Wood Elf roster is awesome. Their campaign sucks dick. And they need, like, 2 more Legendary Lords. The Norskins, on the other hand, I feel like they need a magic character for a Lord, and I think they also need a monster character for a Lord. Just to, like, make things more interesting, and they only have 1 Lord option. It sucks. Am I still doing a Future of the Beastmen video? Yes. Yes, I am. Probably going to do a Future of Bretonia video very, very soon. But Future of the Beastmen is the next big one. The Future of Bretonia one's going to be like maybe 10 minutes long. If that. Greenskins need Orc heroes so bad. Yeah. I don't think the goblins are useless. I just want orcs. Am I still doing Carrick 8 Peaks week? Yes, but it's not going to be a week. It's going to be a month. Because I'm almost... one of the videos is like pretty much done, and it's like over 3 hours long, and that's 1 out of the 5 videos that I wanted to do. There's no fucking way I'm releasing that and then releasing like another super video the next day. That's not gonna happen, because ad wise and like viewership wise, that's gonna be nightmarish. So it's gonna be like one of those a week. So it's gonna be 5 videos ish stretched out over like 4 weeks or something. Like, it's gonna be more like 8 videos stretched out over 4 weeks, but we'll just don't worry about it. The answer is yes, but don't worry about it. It'll get here when it gets here. It's a lot of stuff. I think Wood Elves, Beastmen, and Warriors of Chaos should be top priority for updates. I actually disagree. I think top priority should be Wood Elves, Greenskins, and Empire. Those are my priority factions. I think Warriors of Chaos and Beastmen have really solid campaigns, even though they're kind of... For some people, they can be pretty boring, but I think they have fundamentally good campaigns. And, like, the factions are stable. I think, on the other hand, Empire, Greenskins, and Wood Elves are absolute garbage, outside of, like, multiplayer. Who could or should the Norscan Legendary Lord be? If Norska were to get new Legendary Lords, I think Sirtha Ek should be one, because although he's a meme, I actually would really like to see how CA would re-envision and make him interesting as a Chariot Lord and just, like, make him super cool. And people love him, and he's super meany, and I think it would actually be really good for the community to see that, like, turn into something. So I would say Sirtha Ek, and then for a second Legendary Lord for Norska, I would really like to get a Famir Matriarch. Which, Famir are a matriarchal society, and their matriarchs are, like, really big. They're, like, monstrous. Kind of like Throg-sized. But they're these really hulking, horrifying cyclopean lizard monsters that are, like, really powerful wizards. So I would like to see a Famir Matriarch as, like, the wizard legendary lord, who's also a big scary monster. And then, Sirtha Ek as, like, the the goofy-ass, just goofy as shit character. Like, just get, like, a unique voice actor in that sounds pretty close to the way he is now, and it just has, like, all those super haggard quotes, and he's just awesome. What's this game's name? This is Chaosbane. We did all the exciting stuff already, so we're at the end of the live stream. I'm just kind of, like, answering Q&As. But I did kill a Great Unclean one earlier, so when I put the VOD up of this, that's going to be cool, right? it was super fun, and it took me 2 days to beat him. It was literally like Dark Souls. It was the equivalent to me of a Dark Souls boss. And I had a ton of fun, so I'm glad I beat him. But it was difficult. How many tries did it take us, chat? Like 6 tries today? 5 or 6 before I got him. But super entertaining game. Very, very entertaining. In fact, I think I'm actually going to keep playing for a little bit. I'm going to put my headphones back on, and I'm going to explore Prague a little bit to see what kind of corn demons we can find. Now that my headphones have recharged. Because I can still answer questions while I'm running around. I don't need to be super focused.
Powering on. Battery low. Mic off.
How's the battery still fucking low? Though I need to change my abilities, actually, a bunch. So, actually, I'm going to turn my headphones back off.
Powering off.
And let them charge further while I rearrange my abilities. Because I like playing a summoner build. I had to design a build to kill the fucking Great Unclean one, because it was whooping my butt. Alright. So, first thing I want are hardcore summons. So, we want Dryad. And then I want more Dryads. And then I want the summons. And then I will work from there. So that gives me 14 points for 4 abilities, which is not gonna work super well, but we'll make it work. So we want that for our left click. For our right click, thinking we could do super boomerangs. That ability is broken. That should cost 15, but it only costs 5. But I'm taking advantage of it. The new Greater Keeper of Secrets is sexy as hell. Yes, the new Keeper of Secrets is very, very good looking. So I have 5 points left for 2 slots. Not great. Let's do Elven Shot, and then let's do Cripple Blade. There we go. Oh wait, I still have a passive slot. What passives do I have? These all cost 4, so that's not going to work. So I do have this one, more experience. Alright, now I can turn my headset back on.
Powering on. Mic off.
Yeah, the new Slaanesh models are, they're so good. So good. Somebody that's bored? Yeah, me too. So this is Prague. I've never been here before. It's very tentacle heavy. We got more Ungors. Oh, Fleshhound! Oh, I leveled up. Oh, I unlocked a trap. That's my first trap ability. We'll check that out in a little bit. We got Cultist. Oh, these ones throw axes. Okay. They used to throw, like, little poison things at me. Just look around. Recover more supplies than the enemy. Okay. More dryads. That's a god ability, which you can tell they're god abilities because they're fancy and they have really powerful effects. So those dryads are temporary, but the one I summon otherwise is permanent. That one's permanent. Sirtha Ek was an accident. He was, but he's a beautiful accident, and I love him. He was a happy accident. He was the thing Bob Ross warned us about. And I love him. Okay, Fleshhounds, calm down. Okay, supplies. I just bought Chaosbane. I'm having so much fun as Conrad, but I'm confused with Kruber. Oh, confusing him with Kruber. Yeah, him and Kruber are very similar. Which is kind of a shame, but it is what it is. Fucking reptilian dog things. Oh, the damages. These guys kind of hurt. Oh, sweet. I got my superpower. I wanted to show you guys this. So when my character gets angry, essentially, you can activate superpowers. Voljohn. Thanks, man. So let me show y'all what happens when I get angry. I'm gonna run ahead a little bit, find a nice big pack of enemies. Is this it? Come on. Where is everybody? Yeah, that's a little better. That's a little better. Alright, let's do this. And as you can see, they all drop these lovely gems when I'm in anger mode. How do people fight Kolek as big as he is? Most people just didn't, or they didn't do a very good job. But I imagine what most people would do is shoot him with a cannon, or, you know. But, like, it's kind of like fighting the Mumakil from Lord of the Rings. That's very similar to how you would fight Kolek. I mean, he's in roughly the same size category. Prey of Anathrema much? Yeah, right? Ooh, that is a lot of dogs. Okay. Dryads! know people who have been complaining about this ability where I just shoot like an assload of arrows like a machine gun, but I can't help it, Chad. It's just a really good ability. Like, I don't care that it looks stupid. It's effective. I don't think it looks too stupid. I just don't think about it that hard. Though I do hope they maybe tweak the animation of it a little bit. That's probably what breaks the immersion for so many people, is you don't see her like doing anything. I just think of it that she's fighting quick shiver arrows, which multiply. It just multiplies from my bow instead of from my other parts. Please die. Please die. Give me that. Give me that. Oh, baby. Alright. Nothing back here, just a lot of blood. What time zone am I in? Central Standard Time. So it's like a little past 1 a.m. here. It's kind of worrying because I could have sworn it was like midnight literally a second ago, but I have been rambling up here. Definitely feels like a Diablo game, I'll tell you that much. Ungor Raiders, man. Super annoying. Wonder if we'll fight bigger beastmen. Because all I've seen so far are Gores and Ungors. I haven't seen any, like, Bestigors or anything. But the Nurgle Chaos Champion was, like, a punk compared to the ones that are going up against him now. Does the God ability cost energy? No. So the God ability is determined by this meter right here. And once you activate it, the meter just kind of winds down. And when it gets back to 0, you turn back to normal. But while the God ability is active, you literally have no cooldown. You have no cooldown and no energy cost. But that's the only ability I can use so far. I imagine I'll unlock more God abilities. But I haven't unlocked any yet. Besides the one I have. Some of my Dryads love to moonwalk. Well, those are the ones that bug out. So the ones that I summon with my super ability, which is this one, where they there's like a loud animation, they all pop out. They only survive for 47 seconds. Wait, no, that's the cooldown. I don't know how long they last, but they only last for a little bit. And when they die, they just kind of like... They're supposed to fall over and die, but some of them would just kind of bug out and just kind of stand there. They do a lot of damage, though, so I do like that. But see, so right there, they all fall over and die. Sometimes one of them doesn't, and it'll just like kind of awkwardly move in place. It's just a bug. It's okay though. Game's still in beta, so I have no problem with bugs. They're party spirits. Alright, I think we've mostly cleared out this area. There's 2 supplies left. Oh my lord, that's a lot of bros. That's what I want. Yeah. And you'll notice I can kind of keep it going by finding more, like, angry orb things. Fortunately, it didn't last as long as I wanted to do that time, but whatever. Whoa, is there multiple levels here? There is. Or is that the exit? I can't tell. Please die. Yeah, see, these two are bugged out. So they're just gonna walk awkwardly in place. Hello, Lore Master. How are you? What do I think about the game? Is it worth the $50? I think for the basic experience so far, yes, it is worth $50. I'll make a full review video on it. Probably once we're a little closer to release, because I still want to see what the actual full release looks like. This is a beta, but we've still got a month to go before release. This comes out in like the first week of June, I think, and we're still in April. So I'm not really ready to like give it 100% yay or nay, because there's still like some notable bugs right now in this build, but it's a beta, so that's like, you know, the point of a beta is to find bugs and let people experience the game. But it's very, very fun. So if they can get all the bugs fixed and they can actually like make it so that your gold actually does something. Because right now there's no shops or anything, which is pretty lame, because I really, really enjoy shopping. But leave the streets of Prague, okay? Do I think a Vermintide-style game from the perspective of more destructive or evil races would work? Yeah. I think a Vermintide from the perspective of Skaven, or, well, anybody really. Skaven, like, undead, greenskins, all those guys would work just fine.
There is food and medicine aplenty in the ruins. I filled my pack with everything I could find. Take these with each.
Do all the characters have some type of movement ability? No.
You gathered all this with Red Axe's monsters breathing down your neck? I'm impressed. This is more than I dared hope for. You risk your life for our sake.
He has a very subtle accent, which I like.
Among my people. I'm Leonid Gorchev, and I speak for everyone in this.
Like, he has an Eastern European accent, but it's not like ridiculously thick like I'm used to Kislevites being.
Speak to our merchant. There are shrines as well if you seek the blessings of the gods. In the meantime, I must see to my people. Return to me when you are ready, and we will speak more about this sorceress you're hunting for.
Alright, so we got a ton of experience, Jesus. Money. Oh yeah, and a bunch of more gems. Yeah, cool. Wish it would just, like, lay out. I don't know what that was. What was that? Is that a token? can I do anything with that? I mean, he talked about the shrines like you can use them, but I can't. Wow, those are very, very fancy pants. And I will gladly put them on. What other junk did I get? I lose health regen and counterattack, but I gain everything else. Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, take that. New bow. New chest. New helmet. Another new bow. No. Okay. What do I do with my gear here? That's the real question. I don't think they have the item trader in this area. Not that I can see. I don't know, maybe someone will reveal themselves. I'll hang on to my shit for now. How much? Well, what am I at on weight? Yeah, I'm still okay. There's a chest here, which I'm guessing is like some kind of oh, here he is. Donation. There we go. Okay, here, let me show you all the other characters just to satisfy that curiosity. Oh, I have 2 skill points. That's not enough to change anything out. Well, nothing meaningful. I need 2 more skill points if I'm gonna do a notable change out. Or no, I need 3 more. 3 more skill points. But I did get a new skill. What did I get? Oh, I got the super spiral cut. Okay. And then we unlocked... What was that weird token I got? Oh, here they are. Okay, so you get like tokens for a god, but they don't do anything in this current build, unfortunately. Then on the god tree, I get 2 favor points. Boop boop. Oh, I want this. I want this so bad. Sad face. Alright. Let me show you all the other characters. Just to sate some curiosity. Do all the boomerangs cost 5? Yes, but that's a bug. All the boomerangs it's supposed to be 5, 10, 15. But they all cost 5 because it's a bug. So not all the characters have a movement ability. The elf does, but I can show y'all... I actually haven't even seen the Slayer, so let me show you the Slayer. So this is a Bragi Axe Spider. He's a tough Slayer. The longer he fights, the more his rage goes up, so he gets stronger. Okay, so let's check him out. And we'll... That's fine. Let's just see what he does.
As a young dwarf in the great city of Karak, you were taught the legends of your ancestors. Ever since, you have longed for the day when you could win fame and glory of your own and restore the luster of your much-diminished clan. When High King Thorgrim Grudgebearer called for warriors to aid Kislev during the Great Chaos Invasion, you were one of the first to pledge your service. Along with your father and your younger brothers, you left Karak behind, marching eagerly to war. It wasn't long before you were in the thick of the fight, trapped inside the city of Kislev. You and your kin fought fiercely against the Chaos Horde. When Kul's first assault breached the city gates, it was the dwarfs who led the counterattack that drove the enemy back and saved the day. Your fearlessness in battle earned you the name Axebiter, and the Kislevites hailed you as a hero. But the more you tasted of glory, the more you began to crave it. When Magnus's army arrived outside the city, your thirst for immortal fame ended in tragedy. Leading a force of 300 dwarfs, you tried to fight your way out of the city to join the Imperials and fight Kul's army together. It was a deed worthy of legend, but not even Grimnir himself could have fought his way through so vast a horde. Your reckless charge was driven back at a bitter cost. Half of the valiant dwarfs that had followed you were slain, including your father and all of your brothers. Racked with guilt over the deaths of your kin, you swore powerful oaths of vengeance against the dark powers. And so you chose the path of the Slayer, seeking redemption through a glorious death in battle. When the final battle outside the city walls began, you went forth alone to find Asavar Kul and challenge him to single combat. You carved a bloody path through the enemy, reaching the Chaos Lord in time to see him fall to Magnus and his knights.
Oh, hey, there he is.
After the battle, you
It's actually the first time I've seen
accepted
Asavar
an
Kul.
invitation from Magnus to join his retinue and return with him to Nuln. As far as you were concerned, the new Emperor owed you a glorious death. And with many of Asavar Kul's champions still alive, you could be sure Magnus would not lack for foes.
So that's actually probably the best one of the intro movies, even though it's got a error in it. It shouldn't be High King
It was an
Thorgrim.
age of lawlessness and despair.
I've already seen this one.
A
Y'all
time
can see
What's
it
all
if you
that
want.
noise? Best take a look.
It was weird seeing I kind of wish we could get a close-up of Asavar Kul, because that's the first time I've ever seen him, because he normally doesn't have artwork. So what's my... Okay, so the dwarf also has a movement ability. This is me hitting the space bar. That's like your special ability. For the elf and the dwarf, it seems to be movement-based. The elf rolls, the dwarf does whatever the fuck this is supposed to be. It looks like I have to build up my rage. Yeah, I build up my energy from 0. Whereas most characters start off with 100 energy and they have to maintain it at 100. Braggy's the opposite. He starts at 0 and has to build up. But for the human soldier, his spacebar ability is he throws out a shield. And whenever he throws out his shield, if he's waited long enough, it will stun all enemies except for bosses. But it will stun enemies for like a second or 2 seconds. And if he uses it before then, it'll cause a slow effect instead of a stun. So he works as a really good frontliner or a tank. And then the wizard, whenever you cast a spell with a wizard, if you hold down the spacebar, it allows him to control where it is. So you can like throw out a vortex spell and then hold down spacebar and it'll let you like control where it goes. Or you can throw out like lightning or whatever. You basically just control where your spells are going with the spacebar, but it only controls the last spell you just cast. So if you cast like a bunch of spells at once, it only lets you control the most recent one. But yeah, those are all their mechanics, which are pretty different. And I'm not gonna play this right now. I'm actually gonna go to bed. So thanks everybody for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed like the big lore dump we did earlier. Not lore dump, but Q&A dump we did earlier. I actually got some pretty interesting ideas for videos I'm probably going to do this week. But I need to get to bed soon so I can wake up at a reasonable hour. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate you guys joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed the Greater Demon fight. And if you missed it, the VOD will go out pretty soon after I shut this off. And you can catch it then. So thanks everyone for watching. I'll catch you next time. And have a good night. He says as he needs to get to all this junk. There we go. Good night, guys.